That's us on now. So, who fancies doing a recap of what happened last time we played, which was like 3 weeks ago? Bearing in mind that Patrick wasn't here for it, so probably go into a little more detail than might normally be done.
The enemy army finally made it up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Their leader, Karth. Is that correct? Correct.
He's the guy at the bottom of the.
No. Shit. Oh yeah. Oh. The enemy leader. Called the Narkex twins out and asked us to surrender. The two of us went out and had a discussion with them. And made some terms. We also brought them cake.
You did, yeah.
And a drink, I believe.
Uh-huh.
We agreed to surrender if Narren's stuff was returned and the troops got to go free.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, Drake boys dropped from the sky. One of them was a real dick. Kept making smart jokes. Didn't seem to be much liked even by his allies. And then they, in a surprise move, called out Balax and also took Balax hostage. But before that happened, because I've only just remembered, Soreth?
Soreth.
Yeah, teleported just beside them or behind them and pretended to be a messenger from Carantol to say that it was under attack from the mainland.
It is not.
No, but they semi-believed it. They couldn't confirm it, but they also couldn't disprove it. So they're somewhat hurrying back to the capital with Balax, and we're getting flown back by Drakes.
First class.
Yep, that's pretty much the size of things.
That's everything.
And because we're gonna pick up there, what happened last time Lyda was in Meriden?
I can't remember. I went to see Eyeball of Truth.
Ball of Truth.
And they were like, hey, you've thought about our making a deal with us again? And I was like, sure. And they told me that Malprin was up to some shady shit and there was some other stuff I can't remember. And also the Spire were like, hey, go up north and check out what the Red Order people are doing because they're doing some shit. We heard you were up there, and I was like, no, I'm a clone. Other Little was up there. And then the eyeball stuff happened, and then that someone was in my room. No, was that before or after?
That was after.
I don't remember. Who was in my room? I can't remember.
So you step back through you step through the door that Soren the elf directs you to in the eyeball in the gates place. You arrive back in your inn room, and you can see it's a 2-bedroom, and Pela's asleep in one bed, and then on your bed there's this figure sitting there, and they look at first glance almost exactly like Loran. They got blue skin, they got like clawed fingernails, and they got this smooth eyeless face with like little like kind of like divots, like creases in it running up, and long teeth, and they speak to you telepathically. They say, Ms. Stoneward, I understand she has been speaking with you.
Who wants to know?
My name is Kanar. I represent an organization not unlike hers. The difference being, of course, that I have your best interests at heart. The Gateseer is dangerous. I would caution you against any further meetings with her.
How is she dangerous?
Why do you believe her not to be?
Well, it's not that I don't. I've just haven't done anything bad yet, you know. Why would I trust you when you're just sitting on my bed and I don't know you?
The kind of they sort of stand up, like they're quite tall. They're particularly compared to you. They have to kind of bow their head a little bit in the ceiling. They're like 8 feet tall. And they say, well, now you're thinking like a true Meridianite. I trust your sailor companion was quite happy with the sum of gold we paid him in return for our stolen property.
I am a bit out of the loop, or I have extremely poor memory. I've been hit on the head a couple times since whenever that happened, probably. So, I'm kind of information overload today, so if you could just, plainly as possible.
Your companion, the
Yes.
sailor, he
Yes.
and some of his crew, they stole an item from us, a key in
I
a
vaguely remember that.
blank envelope.
Yes, I do remember that, actually.
While the consequences could have been most dire for your merry gang, we decided to pursue a more reasonable solution to the problem and promote a working relationship. I believe we paid you a handsome sum of gold. When
That sounds like
I
a thing
assure
we
you,
would agree to.
you would otherwise not have seen your friend again.
That happens a lot. Okay, so explain to me again how Gateseer is dangerous when you are the one that has, not sent me any prior messages, has broken into my in-room, and is now vaguely threatening one of my companions. I'm not trying to be hostile, I'm just pointing out that this is a little bit off.
The scene kind of they click their fingers and the scene kind of shimmers and you're in a white room. It's not even like a room, it's just like a sort of a white space. There's nothing really around. And they say, I thought you might be more comfortable in surroundings you're aware of.
Okay, this is a little better. Okay. So your organization, give me the rundown then. What's your pitch?
We merely wish to see you flourish. We believe that you can be of assistance to us and that you are currently being courted by those that would merely take advantage of you.
Okay, so you want me to work with you?
They kind of reach into. They're wearing sort of like robes. And they kind of reach into like a breast pocket and produce between these clawed fingers a white slip of paper and hand it over to you. And they say, my associates and I would merely welcome a meeting with you. Entrance is on your terms. There will be no convoluted Aether Rail journeys, no cryptic letters that others might prefer to reach you with.
I read the piece of paper. What does it say?
It just has an address on it. I'm not sure what the address is, but it has one on it. You recognize the address and how you get there. You know it's in like the southern end of the city.
I don't.
What exactly is the gates here wishing with you? If you do not mind my asking.
I'm not gonna say exactly because I feel like that's kind of not a good thing to do when you just been talking to them and not agreed, but talk to them about stuff. But from my understanding of their organization is that they just watch what happens. And they just watch whatever unfolds and don't really get involved.
And why do you believe that?
Well, I don't think that's necessarily what exactly I got told, but it was my understanding of it. But also, I think they wanted... They just want to know what's going on everywhere, I guess.
And what is it you want?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
When I suspect the gate will not have asked you.
At this point, I just want to make sure my family's safe, basically, because ideally myself, but I'm okay with me going into things, but
I see. Your family are important to you.
Yeah, it's not like, it's just kind of like, I don't want them to die because of me. That would be bad. And it's already happened, so, I mean, there's lots of things that I want, I suppose. Is there? I don't really know. What? You said you want to see me flourish. Why?
I merely believe that we can be of mutual use to one another. More mutual use than the gate will be to you.
I see. Well, then why did you say that what do you want with me? And you just said you wanted me to flourish, but you do want something from me. So what is it?
They kind of gesture towards the card, and then they kind of...
Okay. How do I know I'm going to be safe at this meeting? I mean, I suppose I didn't know I was going to be safe at the other meeting, but...
You have my word. And they kind of look you up and down. You have proven yourself capable. More than once, you and your companions are routinely underestimated, are you not?
Sometimes, not all the time. But what is so? Can I ask what the organization is? What it's called?
I represent an organization known as the Trivium.
The Trivia. Is that what?
Trivium.
Trivium.
The band?
Wow, I love that band.
Trivium.
I'll have all your albums.
And you don't like... Jake, what are the other people called, like the actual people? So I stop seeing like the eyeballs.
They're called the Oculin Gate.
The Oculin Gate. So I can just call them the Gate, right?
Yeah.
Oculin Gate, okay. And you don't like the Gate because you don't think that they have my best interests in mind.
When you've been around the city for as long as I have, you begin to see patterns, and the Gates is a pattern of using promising young individuals up and then spitting them back out when they are of no longer any use.
No, you know what? Okay, I'll come to the meeting, I guess.
I am sure they click your fingers and you're back in the inn room, but this time it feels a lot more tangible. Like when they clicked your fingers the first time, you're in this like white space, and kind of like looking back on that inn room compared to this one, it was like subtly different, and that kind of makes you feel like it wasn't maybe like reality. And then they say, I understand you have pressing business with the Spire today, and no doubt wish a day with your sister without the pressures of the adventuring life. Entrance is at your leisure. We will be happy to meet with you on your desired terms.
And no one's gonna try and murder me.
I guarantee it.
Can I insight check that?
Sure.
Just want to get one insight check it just to make sure.
Vegetables.
Normal. Great. A 2, the worst possible thing I can roll. That's a 4.
I mean, could be either way. I mean, there's a big blue dude, or big blue person, and last time you knew a big blue person, you disintegrated them, and that big blue person didn't cause you any trouble after that. So like you're kind of, I mean, what is Lyda's reaction to seeing a big blue person that looks like Narinn?
When she saw, Gnar, for just sitting there, she was like, "Oh fuck!" Like,
relatives.
Someone's going to get me because I disintegrated that lady.
This one's auntie.
So, first very guilt-ridden, just like, oh no, a little bit PTSD maybe.
Sure, yeah. So that whole reaction is maybe you're not entirely like. I mean, it's telepathic. This conversation, like, you're not really sure how body language translates telepathically and stuff, so you're not really able to get like a firm beat either way. They seem about as trustworthy as a random blue person that like appeared in your room and took you out of reality for a moment and spoke to you in your brain.
Yeah. The life of a wizard.
Yeah.
Those wizard things.
They kind of they gesture towards the cart and sort of move towards the door, and then they turn before they hand on the handle and say, "If I may ask, what was your companion's interest in the key?"
Well, you know how I didn't remember what the key was when you I can't remember, but if it was Narinn, that could have been anything from just wanting to steal something, to wanting gold, to wanting to kill someone, to doing something for Arissa, to who knows what. Could have been something to do with scale. It might have just been the wind telling him to do it. You never know.
A man of simple ambitions. I understand. Good day, Miss Stormley.
Yeah,
And they turn the door and open it and step
what was
inside.
that key for? Was that an interesting thing? Matt, what was the key? Do you remember what the key was about?
Just because it was there.
Oh, okay.
No, Narinn was looking for something.
Was it the map?
I don't remember exactly, but the ship had a tie. I didn't know I was looking for a key. I just went to rob the ship, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, because we overheard something in a restaurant.
Yeah.
That was
I forget.
Okay.
It was something to do with the company that owned the ship and something along those lines.
Yeah, so Kenor opens the door and bows his head and steps outside and shuts it behind him. And as the latch, clicks, Pela kind of... Oh, Lily, you're back!
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was, what were you doing? You got a mysterious letter, and then...
Yeah, and I went for a meeting, but
Wizard
then I
stuff.
went for a second meeting, and now
A
I'm
second
back.
meeting?
Yeah, a surprise second meeting.
No, we're having a meeting.
I suppose so. Third meeting. This is much more pleasant than the other two.
What happened to the other two? Did you meet
Oh,
with wizards or something?
just people being cryptic and
I hate when people do
Why-
that.
and being on different sides and wanting me to choose a side and telling me too much information. Frankly.
That sounds complicated.
No, it is. You want to get breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast sounds good.
Okay.
She kind of pulls herself up and goes to get dressed and everything. And you guys go and have breakfast. What are you spending the rest of your day doing? To bring us up to timeline parity.
Probably spending most of the day with Pela and then trying to figure out something for Pela to do while Lid is away doing going up north stuff. And then
Sure.
at some point going to where that piece of paper says.
Sure, okay.
Probably.
Yeah, I will get you... Hang on, I will get you... I'll just make a note. I need to do this. But I will get you a copy of the note.
And she might ask if, depending on who she sees when she like visits like the spire or something, she might ask about the All-Killing Gate and the Trivium.
Sure.
It'd be great if this is just a band audition.
Okay. So if you're just kind of generally sort of partying around the city, we'll just sort of kind of gloss over that and jump ahead to the small hours of the morning of the next day. And then if there's anything that I want to accomplish on that day, we can cut back. There'll be no worries. Let me just make a note. So in the meantime, you guys are, Narinn and Zorgar have their little tete-a-tete with Captain Visad. Then Narinn and Zorgar and Rurik and Praffen and Muir are all manacled. Your weapons are removed before you're loaded up on the drakes. The rest of your stuff is left on you for the time being. And you get picked up by the drakes, and the drakes... I dropped the iron brew.
No!
Oh no.
The drakes, flap and take off into the sky and start steaming towards the coast and Carental. The 6th Legion sort of takes Balax and they kind of disperse. Balax's last order before stepping outside of the temple, it's only Zarzan that's there to hear this, but Balax makes Kareth, one of Narren's Elite Four, the acting captain, and instructs her that her and the Legion are to make their way to the hiding spot, and indicates that only Zarzan is the only person that knows where that hiding spot is, and basically leaves Kareth and Sora in charge. So where did we get to with Sarth? What was Sarth up to? Sarth had turned up and was kind of like pretending.
Yeah, and then they had 2 manacled people before they went. I was gonna ask, actually, I just had an idea of if Sarth was maybe able to, like, because they were manacling people, like, take the weapons off of them.
Probably, yeah. You could definitely take the weapons off. That would be an expected part of it, but there's like a communal box that it was anticipated that weapons would be put into.
Interesting. Well,
I mean, you're welcome to not put a weapon in there. That might arouse suspicions if you were detected. You can see the wizard is already kind of like looking at you like a little bit like, who is this person? They're currently helping us out, but don't know about them.
I think Sarf would probably hover around for a while until everyone gets taken off, and then once the... I don't know if the army's going to start moving away as soon as, or if they're going to, like, wait around. So I think Sarf is just kind of, like, staying put, but, like, also eyeing up if there's any weapons that are, like, cool in that box.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't
well,
wanna
you
take
know,
one.
Zorgar's axe is in there. Rurek's hammer is in there. Raffin's staff is probably in there. Who else has? Mira doesn't really have any weapons, does she? Yeah, so that's kind of the extent of it. There's assorted hand tridents and like little small axes and general other weaponry. Daggers, probably a bunch of daggers, and you know, like kind of like that scene at in Rohan where they're taking out all the daggers and stuff, except you know.
Very important question.
Yeah.
Did they find Rurek's beard dagger?
They didn't search Rurek's beard, no. They just took the obvious weapons.
Nice. We're good. We're sorted then.
Rurek's spellcasting focus is in his beard as well. I remember you telling me to do that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, because
so
you're just
basically
kind of
Sarf's plan is just like hovering until there's a good chance to maybe grab the hammer and the staff and then teleport out.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So Sarth is kind of manacling people, and then weapons get taken off and put in this box, and then there's a moment of confusion or a moment of like where kind of people's focus is elsewhere when the drakes begin loading up Narinn and Zorgar and everything like that. Do you remember who you were manacling? Because there would be an opportunity for the person you were manacling to like whisper like a last something to you if anyone was
I
wishing to do
remember manacling Muir
that. Sure.
at least, but I don't know who else.
Okay. It's probably Muir and Rurek, since that is sort of thing that would. So if Muir or Rurek wish to leave a message to Sarth or say your goodbyes or anything like that, there is an opportunity as Sarth is manacling you.
Say your goodbyes to the soldier you've known for a day.
Yeah.
And what a soldier.
Goodbye, my old friend.
Thanks
How
for
was your
saving me
business?
earlier. All right. I'll see you later then.
Well, I don't know if I. Well, I suppose if you guys are whispering to me, I can whisper back. I just don't want to be too suspicious.
Now people are the people that would raise suspicions are kind of busy manacling the other two.
You guys need me to do anything before you get to.
It'll be fine.
Can you tie
Probably.
the trident onto the hammer? Tie them together.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yes.
Is the trident like in the box with where the hammer's gonna go?
The trident's back in the temple.
Oh.
Because I never had it when we were beginning negotiations, remember? Part of it
Yeah.
was that they hand it over to my dragon bot.
Oh, so you already have the. Okay. Well.
Yeah, like Narinn
Okay.
doesn't have the trident. One of the soldiers
So
has
no, I can't do that.
Well, tie something to the hammer then. Something good.
Something. Okay.
Alright. Thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit. Tie the
Mhm.
trident to the hammer. Do it!
Yeah.
It's in
It's
the
a big
temple.
brain move.
Oh.
Galaxy brain even.
I will attempt.
We'll see if it
to-
works.
When I put the hammer into the box,
Uh-huh.
I will try to tie it to Raffin's staff.
Sure. Okay. Give us a. I mean, it's just a knot. It's really not that hard. You're able to tie a knot, right? You're not sure, like you're not really sure why you're supposed to tie it. You don't have it like there's like some vines on the staff, and there's like probably like some wee tassel-y bits off the hammer that you can use to tie stuff together. And so like they're tied together. You're not really sure why or like how strong the knot has to be or anything like that. But you tie them together.
And tie another knot to Zorgar's axe. Just forget
That might arouse suspicions. You
Yeah.
can try it.
Just say it so things won't rattle around. It's fine.
Yeah,
And they'll be
I'll
weaker
try
knots
it.
as well because you're using the same amount. So you can have one strong knot between the hammer and the staff, or you can have
Which
two weak
one will
knots
get
between the hammer and the
randomly-
staff and the axe.
God, one of them will get randomly dropped somewhere across scale.
Ah,
Did we establish if your hammer just teleports to you or it flies towards you?
There is rules. I think it flies towards me.
Oh my
Let me-
god!
Let me.
You!
I don't know if it takes like the path of least resistance or like
Just
direct
goes.
line. It just goes.
You just bore a hole through a mountain.
Let me see. Reclaim of Grey Thunder. I can use my bonus to attack or damage roll. I'll find it.
Is there a range to it as well?
So I don't
yes.
think there is a range, but I'm pretty sure it was a teleport.
It
Aw.
it rematerializes. Yeah, you're
That's
right,
oh, so
Jake.
it's not gonna
Fine.
drag anything.
Because it's
It's
not
not.
like when it was the rune, it used to fly, but then it ultimately just
Right.
was like, and
I'm
like
sure
made
he
it
has
like a
ulti.
teleporting hammer.
Yeah,
Just ask Ultius really nicely. He might do it.
we might do, but
Basically means that like Rick can always get his hammer, like anywhere. It could just like yoink it, but it doesn't. You can't. It doesn't fly.
Okay.
Oh, there's no point in me actually tying things to it.
Yes, but no one knows that.
Okay. Well, then I'm just gonna go for the one because I want to run.
Sure.
Push.
Sure. Okay. So you tie the hammer together, and then the two soldiers with the chest that it's going into just kind of like look at everyone. And they're like, well, it looks like everything. They shut the chest, and it starts getting like processed back. And at this point, Vasad is steering the 5 detainees towards the drakes where they're being carried. Narinn gets to ride with Thran.
Oh boy.
In the Talons, as everyone else is in the Talons. Zorgar gets like another you've not really seen any of the other Drake Riders do anything. One of them does look like slightly like higher rank than the others. Like his armor's just a little bit nicer and stuff like that. And that dude's carrying Zorgar, and everyone else is just with the 3 other chumps. And then the Drakes take off with the 5 people, unless, of course, Narinn or Zorgar or Raffin wish to leave a message with the 6th Legion, with the Vasad dudes. Don't know what your message would be, or special instructions or anything. Do you want to have any last words with them?
I was just trying to insist that they go down and talk to the rest of the 8th Legion to not come up and murder the people on top of the mountain. Top of the hill.
Vasad kind of looks up at this guy and says, well, there's no sense in continuing our journey down at this time of night. We'll remain here outside the temple and ensure nothing untoward happens before dawn.
Okay. Fair dues.
So yeah, the 5 of you get picked up and flown away, and then the 6th Legion starts to actually they start to pitch tents and things like that, like outside the temple, because it's the middle of the night. So inside the temple, what's Sarath's reaction to everyone starting to they don't actually start moving away, they just start bedding down?
This is bad news. Oh no. Well, they're probably gonna get news that the place isn't under attack. So probably wait until everyone's distracted and then just dimension door away.
Sure. Give me a stealth check.
Stealth.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, where's Soros? I've got lit up right now. There's Soros. Six.
6. Okay.
not the most stealthy. It's more just I
Yeah.
want to make sure that the magical lady isn't looking at me so that she won't counterspell it.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So your dimension door definitely goes off, but you're like people totally saw that happen. So where are you dimension dooring?
I can dimension door 500 feet away.
Okay.
So 500 feet away in a direction where they're not going to be able to see where I am.
Sure. So you're just basically legging it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you appear kind of like there's a little bit of a. In fact, give us an acrobatics check.
Uh-oh. Hold on, I closed the page. Hold on. Acrobatics. I get no good rolls tonight.
Whee!
It's at 10.
Okay. So you dimension door 500 feet in a direction. Like that puts like the temple between you and them, so they're not going to be able to see where you go. And you kind of pop into the air, and then realize there's no solid ground under you, and you kind of fall the short way, and like bonk yourself for 6 damage. You're kind of like sort of on the edge of the mountain. There's sort of it's very tenuous, kind of there's sort of a bit of a path. It's fairly tenuous. You certainly can't hear any army sounds. You're pretty sure that they will have noticed that, because also your magic's kind of unpredictable. That was a little sparklier than it normally is. So yeah, you materialize on the mountainside, in a somewhat precarious situation after having taken a short bump. You can see there's a narrow path leading down the mountain, or kind of back up to further up back towards the temple. But you're on a strut of rock that's about like 2 or 3 feet wide, and it's a fairly sheer drop to the left of you.
This was not the best plan.
Inside the temple, everything's in kind of a bit of chaos. Zarzan, you can see a lot of people are running towards newly acting Captain Kareth, and she's fielding questions from people and going like, "Well, I don't know. I just arrived. I don't freaking know what the hell to do." And people are going to talk to Sora, and Sora's like, "Man, don't get. Look, I'm just don't even please." Everyone's going. It's all a bit of chaos, especially after everyone notices out of the window that the Sixth Legion isn't leaving. They're setting up shop for the night. They're like, well, how long does the temple last? What happens if the temple goes down and then they're just there and they're gonna like Malkias? What happens then? And then, after about there's about 15 or 20 minutes of this before someone comes to speak to Zarzan. So what is Zarzan doing in the aftermath of everything that's just happened?
I don't know. He'd probably just go and hang out with his boys.
Sure. Okay.
Probably like resume position with them, like under the leader.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So you head back to the Black Barbs, and you get ready to reinsert yourself. And as you arrive back at the Black Barbs, Orman, who you expect to take orders from, kind of looks at you and says, "What's the plan?"
I don't know.
I mean, doesn't the commander have a plan? Like, I thought there was some kind of like secret plan here.
Does Zarzan know the secret plan?
Nope.
He'd say if the commander does have a plan, then I don't know it.
Saying that part of the plan? Is that top secret or something?
I have no idea what is going on.
Okay. Well, I mean, we need to get to this new hideout place, right?
Yeah.
And you're the only person that knows how to get there. Is that also right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we get there?
trees, but we can't do that anymore.
Trees.
Wasn't the only way to get there through flying or by going through a tree?
Yeah, there's no land route.
Right. Okay, the way there is either we all get air transport or we all get our druid back.
Okay, well, how do we get this druid back? Or how do we get air transport? I mean,
Well,
The
I don't
roads
know.
will be huge for the druid. Huge.
I mean, I've got no idea. So
I don't know either. He kind of looks over towards Karen. He's like, I don't think Karen has that much of an idea. And maybe some sort of plan will kind of form itself tomorrow. And the commander really doesn't have a plan. There's no like secret.
I am not in on any kind of plan.
All right. Yeah, conversation kind of dies down after that point. Like usually it's pretty chummy. You know, there's like back and forth and inside jokes and stuff like that. Kind of standard military squadron sort of stuff. But everyone's kind of certainly in your unit, everyone's like, man, what the fuck's going on? What do we do? Like, some people are like, are we gonna get paid? And everyone else is kind of freaking out a bit. But as it kind of gets into the early hours of the morning, people start to bed down for the night, and everyone people go to sleep without any more of a plan than they had when everyone surrendered. But the hope is that they'll at least be well slept in the morning to try and figure out a plan. And meanwhile, everyone else is express route to the capital. Via Drake. So are any of you doing anything on the journey? Are you trying to do any sort of madcap escape plans or anything like that? Or are you just sort of bedding in for the ride? You're all grasped in the claws, and you've got 2 sets of manacles on your arms. Your legs are free, but you're quite far off the ground.
How high?
Like a good few. It's kind of difficult to tell because it's night, but at least a few, 1,000 to 2,000 feet, maybe more. Like you're higher than the mountaintops. Like you're above the cloud line.
Above the cloud line.
Can we breathe?
It's pretty rough.
So I take it we don't see the river.
Let me have a look.
Or the lights from the Balin estate suggesting the river is close.
No. You maybe see the lights over Balath. Even then, there's not very many of them. It's quite late. It's like you're making the journey at pure witching hour.
Mirror's plan is to, when we get into the city, is to use the cloak to dimension door away at the last second, basically.
Sure.
And if someone's in grabbing range, grab them too.
Okay.
Can Rurak have a look at the shackles and particularly the actual links in the chain, and see if there's one that you can identify as being weaker than the others? Maybe I don't know.
Sure. Give us a. What do you normally make for smith's tools?
I'm not sure.
Wisdom
or
give us I guess give us a wisdom check.
Okay. Ability check.
Or investigation, maybe.
Ooh, ouch. That didn't go so well.
11.
11.
Sure. So you're kind of looking at these manacles. You can see that they're like you've all been fitted with one set of like nice like dragon glass manacles, and one set of like fairly normal like iron manacles. So you're like, I mean, there's one shaft on the iron manacles on your set that looks a little kind of there's a little bit of rust on it. It's looking slightly past its best. If there was a weak one, it would be that one. But you've also got to contend with this other pair of big manacles, and that's made of glass, and you're not really sure what would even constitute like a weak one. Looking at that,
there's like,
does that make sense?
There's like two pairs of manacles.
Yeah, 2 pairs.
Oh.
So like one like on your wrist, and then one like just at your elbow.
Okay. Is there any way for me to get one of my hands on like the weak part of the rusted manacles of the?
With a little bit of jiggery pokery, yeah, probably.
Okay. Rack's never done anything like this before, but he'd like to try and just like get a little bit of electricity through his fingers and try and just like irritate that bit of metal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Just silently working away at that whilst on the journey, if possible.
Yeah, you're able to manifest like little cracklers and stuff, and a little bit, like light crackling. But it doesn't seem to, you're working on that for like a bit. It doesn't really seem to, if you've got like, the little cracklers you can manifest, don't seem to be enough to do anything really.
Right. Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
A big crackler maybe, but that'd obviously be somewhat more showy.
Yeah, and failing that, then he's just gonna take the time whilst like high up to pray and center and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that you're going to be in prison, it's a pretty cool view, Yep. You're pretty high up, I don't
think Greg's ever ridden a drake before.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, it's it's an interesting version of riding because you're like sort of like grasped by it. But it's a new sensation either way, Sure. What about Zorgar and Praffen? Are you guys doing anything? While gripped?
Literally just hanging out.
Just hanging out.
We're still manacled, yeah.
Still manacled, yeah.
There's not much we can do, I don't think.
Praffen, you can actually notice kind of towards the end of the journey that this is, like you guys have been manacled before. This is not something you've ever noticed before. But the set of iron manacles around your arms, like the skin around it is like it looks like it's like burnt you slightly, like you're kind of hurt by it. No, it's like a superficial.
Metal, yeah.
But like even then you've picked up metal stuff before and it's been fine. So you're not sure why this is unusual for you.
Is there guards there, or?
So like you're kind of in the claws of this drake. There is a drake rider that's obviously steering the thing.
I think I'll try and negotiate better manacles once we land.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, so unless anyone's gonna do any jiggery pokery en route there,
Can Narinn just make the flight as uncomfortable as possible? He's
For-
going
for-
to
for
swing
him,
around to try and throw off the flight. He's going to try kick at the wings. Maybe
Yeah,
use
sure, yeah.
animal handling to try and convince the drake to side with him.
Or-
I mean,
is
you
the plan
can-
to try and escape.
Try
I could
and
always just turn
convince
into a bird or
the
something.
try and convince the drake to do a barrel roll. That'd be pretty fun.
Okay. I mean, give us an animal handling check.
Okay.
Very convincing foot.
Yeah. Oh,
16. Okay, so you're like like wriggling and wrestling around and stuff. You're trying to talk to this drake, and so your 16 basically gets you. You don't. you get the sensation that as you're wriggling and wrestling around like that, like you can hear Trav like talking to the Drake and like like go on, dig in a bit. So you're gonna get the sensation that like normally, this would sort of be punished by like like you're in the claws, so you'd think the claws would just go, but sort of like mess with you back. But your 16 sort of manages to get you to. I'm not sure how you do it, but it might just be pure luck. It might be a sort of intrinsic beast connection with this Drake, but you're able to sort of not be hassled back too much. If you're just kind of wriggling and squirming around.
Naren's last-ditch effort might be to just pure strength try and rip the manacles apart.
Sure. Okay. So I mean, you can give it a bash if you want.
Is it going to take into account that I don't have my belt anymore?
Yes. Yeah. Also, does.
Thomas!
Ooh, Thomas!
Yeah, so the other thing of note is that Zorgar's big glove and Rurek's gauntlets have been taken off them as well, so they can actually get the manacles on you. Anyone else wearing gloves has had them taken off.
No gloves.
No gloves. So yeah, with a one, you're like sort of squirming, you're like, okay, like 3, 2. You try and break them, and maybe it doesn't work, possibly because you don't have your belt, and you've been wearing that belt for like years. So even though you're a pretty strong dude without the belt, it's like it's almost like you're like way weaker than normal. So you're like sort of it's kind of you sort of like you feel yourself like pop a muscle in your shoulder, and it sort of just you succeed at making like a kind of jingling noise, and then Dran's like, well, right, that's it, and he's like he drops you, and then you start plummeting, and then he swoops down and grabs you, picks you up again, and you get kind of like get whiplash.
Go into a spin in that motion to kick away the Drake.
Sure, man, give us a dex save.
Can I see Matt
from
doing
that
this?
height. Oh my
You can't
god.
swan dive into a pond,
I can try.
Well, Matt, if you were able to get
I
away,
have 3
I could turn into a
luckies.
bird or something and come and pick you up on the way down.
Come on, I've rolled bad so far, but yes! Fuck
You
off,
can't swan
Drake.
dive when you're manacled either. You can't pull your arms over.
Sure, okay. So 19, yeah, you succeeded not being picked up by the Drake.
Yes.
And it kind of moves to grab you, and you kind of kick it away, and it sort of like it gets a grip on your foot, and then you kind of kick free with your foot, and you start falling again. So he's like, and so.
Now, here's a very important question.
Uh-huh.
Does Narinn still have his cloak on? Would they have?
Probably,
like...
yeah.
Yes.
No.
Okay, then Narinn is just looking at the ground and trying to keep an eye on the Drake, and just diving for the ground and trying to roughly guess when to cast Featherfall.
Okay.
Kind of as last minute as possible.
Sure. So obviously it might not be clear to Narinn in this moment, but it would be clear to Narinn in the moments leading up to this that like the Drake is following you, so it's like it does know where you're gonna go, and like it's not like you hitting Featherfall is gonna mean that you vanish off. It'll obviously still know where you are.
Yeah.
So you might make it to the ground okay. That doesn't mean you're out of the woods, if that makes sense.
That's true, but are there woods below me? Is there
No.
any tree cover?
There's a light wood, but that's some number of minutes run away. Maybe a little village.
Aiming for the town.
Can I sending stone Narinn?
Don't have them.
No.
Don't have them.
Can I see Narinn doing this?
Yeah, you can all watch as kind of in the distance. There's this figure gets.
The grand escape. This guy
said
fucked up.
the manacles are hurting my arms.
Okay.
Do I feel like there's some sort of magical influence? Like, do I feel like this might affect my druid abilities?
Nope. I mean, you know, wearing any manacles of any form is probably gonna, like, wearing metal anything is it might impinge your druid ability. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, you might turn into a squirrel, but the squirrel would have, like, little manacles on.
Oh, I see. Right. Well, so I can't like turn into a bird and shake off my manacles and fly away.
Probably not.
But if you turn into a bird, would it be around? I don't know, because
You'd probably be just being like,
Yeah,
like
it might be around my feet.
a bound bird thing. I don't know.
I believe Wings was around the area when
Oh my god.
Yes.
you know when we left. Can I get any sort of sense of where they are?
Yeah, you're pretty sure, like, you're pretty sure Wings is maybe following kind of like a safe distance away. It's also in the middle of the night. You might have just gone to bed. You're not really sure. You've not seen him.
Right. Well, I'll do a little pray and say to Altius, please let that bird catch me, and I'm gonna grab the little I forget what you call it, but the thing I pray to Altius with that's in my beard.
Yeah.
And can I cast Call Lightning at 5th and like
Yeah.
raise my manacles up and target the manacles?
You can certainly try.
All right, I would like to.
Okay, right, hang on. Let me change the tunes. This is not general ambience. This is we're now into suspense. Okay, right, hang on. So
Doesn't lightning need to like go through ground? Isn't it? Is that a thing?
yeah, it would probably strike the
just hits
ground.
flying object.
But it might you might be able to get it to hit the ground through your manacles. It's a certain there's going to be a certain amount of like intuitive maths involved based on how fast you're moving, how long the lightning bolt will take, and and stuff like that. If that makes sense.
Okay.
You're gonna have to give us like an athletics check to try and like actually wheel your way out of the claws, or to get your arms out to do it. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, right. Athletics. So, is my strength 19? Is that just the plain score, or?
That is certainly 19 with the gloves on, but you don't have the gloves on anymore.
I don't have it written anywhere.
Let me see. It's probably on your D&D Beyond sheet.
Yeah.
Let me have a look.
Was it 14 before?
Sounds right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Low.
Wasn't the best.
$16.
16. That's better. That's plus 2, plus 3.
Yeah.
That's 3.
Plus 3. Okay. Right. Well, I'll just roll a strength. Sorry, it's an athletics check. So the -1 for my result here. Yeah, I'll just make a check if that's okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Hey. Okay. Rolled a 17. Plus 3 is 20 total.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So you're able to kind of wheedle your way out, and you got a lot. You're a big, kind of a fairly round dwarf. You've got a lot of kind of like stuff that can get out of the way, and you can put your arms out. Based on the geometry of the drake, your manacles are going to be under the wing of the drake. If that makes sense, so it is going to hit the drake. If that's a concern for you.
Can I wait a second?
Like they go up and down, and you're in the claws. So it's kind of like carrying you under it. Like there's gonna like basically any way you shake it, there's gonna be drake over where you wanna.
All right, fuck it. Yeah, no, that's fine. You can do that. Yeah. Yeah, no problems. Okay, we'll do that.
So you might be like, well, like you'd probably be aware that like the lightning would kind of have to like go like straight through the drake. Like if the drake is just kind of like tough enough to like take the hit, if that makes sense. Then it might, there's a chance it might just absorb it. and then be pissed off.
I'm not. So how long have we been flying for?
This is now, it's about like 4 or 5 a.m. You can see in the distance, like in the far distance, you can see Carental.
Yeah, I'll go for a 5th level Call Lightning.
Sure, okay.
Where's Call Lightning normally? It's a 3rd level, so this is 5d10. They have to make I think it's a dex saving throw? Yes, they have to make a dex saving throw.
Okay, so basically what I'm going to... This is fairly non-standard, so I'm going to say is if they fail the dex save, the lightning will go through your manacles, and if they succeed, they'll just absorb the hit. If that makes sense? Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Sure, okay. And have I got...
Okay. Alright, let's go for the roll. There we go. That's not bad. 1 above average, so 26.
Nice. Okay.
Ooh.
20.
Damn.
Does that beat your thing?
That does beat. Yes, that does.
Sure, okay. So you feel the kind of the electric hum in the air that is always accompanied by a big riotous strike of lightning as it barrels down from the heavens and is right on target. You can see, you have to kind of like close your eyes a little because you're sort of like looking up at the lightning as it comes down with your manacles in. And you feel this this meaty impact and this kind of frazzling sound, and you're like expecting to get feel a bit of feel some singeing on your hair, but you basically just smell the kind of smell of like sort of charred meat kind of waft down towards you, and the rider basically like freaks out. What the fuck was that? And the drake kind of like screams and kind of instinctively like tightens its claws around you, and you feel them kind of like dig in around you, like around your rib cage and stuff like that. And for a moment, it's like oh god, is it gonna like actually squeeze me like a tube of tomato puree? And then it kind of like sort of like stops, and they're kind of like. You can see that in this moment they don't really know what to do, with having just been struck by lightning. Meanwhile, Narinn is falling. So, I mean, the drake's gonna just sort of swoop and catch you again, unless you're gonna try and buck free of it.
Narren's gonna constantly try and kick away from the drake, and when he gets close enough to the ground, try and pull the brakes maneuver to fly past as the drake. That's what he's aiming for in his head.
Sure. Okay. Well, give us another dex save.
Can I use a lucky?
You can.
Why do I mark it off on this sheet? I forget. Oh, there it is. Oh, is that my last one for today too?
Probably.
Looks like it is.
Isn't it the next day?
You've not had a long rest yet.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are basically just pulling all Narinn.
Yeah.
So Narinn hasn't had a long rest since he was captured?
Nope.
Okay. Cool. What was it again? Dexterity?
Yeah.
Ability check. Come on. Better?
It kind of, there's a minute where you're like, oh, I'm going to get free again, and it kind of, crimps you, and you feel this, you feel actually, claws, you feel like you got a magic breastplate on, but you feel it, like pop in to your chest, you feel your ribs, momentarily, and then it pops back out as it kind of impacts you, and you are restrained again.
Narinn is probably laughing at the rider now to antagonize him. Being like, oh, that was a close one, wasn't it?
I mean, so there's wind whistling past you, and he kind of calls down. What would he call down actually? I think he just calls, "Fuck off!" And then you hear this like peal of thunder behind you, and kind of so like Fran has to like level back up with everyone, which takes like a bit. Like Zorgar and Raffen and Muir and Rurak, the guys on your drakes are like, what the fuck was that? There's a storm? Where'd the storm come from? It's that fucking dwarf! The dwarf's got the storm!
No. Sorry, did Narinn just get picked up there? Or are you still following Narinn?
You guys basically saw Narinn fall through the clouds, and then the drakes like swoop after him, and you have no idea what happened. The Drake Riders don't seem particularly fussed by this. They're actually like in the immediate as Narinn, they're like, he's playing with him again. And then 15-20 seconds later, like Thran re-emerges out of the clouds. Unless anyone wants to do anything.
He re-emerges with Narinn.
With Narinn, yeah, you can see.
Rurak sees that the attempt to escape failed and concedes.
Sure, okay.
Mission failed.
Mission failed. Hands
Get him next
away from the prey thingy. What do you call that? Sorry.
Like a holy symbol, I guess?
Yeah, holy symbol. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. So, an admirable attempt. But you guys kind of
almost got away with it too.
Emerges
for those meddling drakes.
Yeah, you guys proceed in your formation, and then you see the sun begin to peek over the clouds. It's quite a nice view actually. Of these dappled cotton wool clouds, and then everyone the whole formation starts to pitch down. You can see you break through the clouds and see below you this big shimmering glass city in dawn's early light. And you see towards the coast, towards the bay, there's this large glass palace, and everyone kind of you dip down below the clouds and then turn around and then head straight down towards that palace. So looks like you've got a minute or two of flight left before you arrive in the capital.
It's like I say, as soon as we get nearest the palace, I'd like to dimension door the fuck out of there.
Sure, okay. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, 2 or 3 minutes go by. You kind of swing low over the city, and we're just starting to wake up. You can hear, cockerels crowing and stuff like that. And there'll be like some kind of weird, like lizard cockerels, and slightly different noise.
Jake, see if I remain with the manacles if I turn into something, with arms.
Yeah.
What if I turned into like a snake?
You're probably fine.
Or a worm.
Well, I could turn into a wiggly worm, and then as I fell, I could turn into something with a bird. I wouldn't have manacles then, would it?
Or you could just turn
Like-
into a Raffen because you have the boots of flying, right?
Also,
Bird's less obvious though.
Would they have taken the thing of flying?
No, they took your stick. If you had any gloves on, you don't have any gloves anymore because they took them off to put your manacles on.
And no one else is close to escape?
No.
So who's missing and who could I meet up with if I escaped? I'm just trying to think.
Well, Lyda's not here and Malbrin's not here, but they're on the mainland.
I don't know where they are anyway.
Yeah. Zarzan and Sarith are back where the army was. On that mountain. Presumably. That was where you last left them.
I'm just wondering because I'm just trying to think because we surrendered, but then if we escape while we surrendered, does that be the kibosh and another one? So that's what I'm trying to work out. I've been trying to think of a cunning escape plan. And they've got my staff.
They do have your stick, yeah. And your staff, rather.
I'll maybe just wait then. I've come this far. I might as well. I could always escape. I could turn into a worm inside the jail or something and wiggle my way out.
Sure, okay. Yeah, so you guys get brought, over the city, and you can hear the bakeries are starting, and there are animals and stuff, and there's a little bit of bustle around the city, and as dawn approaches, and you can start winding your way towards the palace. You kind of as the drakes kind of come over the docks, their flight seems to kind of level out with with where the palace is, and it doesn't look like they're going to be going any lower than this.
Okay.
If that affects your plans.
As close to the palace as possible, where there's a convenient cart or a stack of crates to hide behind.
Sure. Okay. Give us a perception check.
Can someone roll it for me?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. So, Hamir, perception, normal. 16. Okay. So you're like, well, that looks like something coming up. That looks like certainly there's a stack of crates there. And there's a cart next to it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll go for that. You spot an appropriate point.
I guess they're big drakes. Could I reasonably grab anybody? Even just touch them?
No. You could grab the drake. But you're all in separate drakes.
Alright, yeah, okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Just gonna whoop. Bye-bye.
Sure, okay. Yeah, so you focus on the point and you go, okay, 3, 2, and you vanish. Your drake is at the back of the queue. So
hey.
You kind
if you're vanishing, then would I see her vanish?
Not unless you're specifically looking to see, like in the immediate aftermath of your vanishing, no one notices. So Muir, you appear, you kind of land in this pile of straw next to some crates, and then you hear a voice shout something at you in Draconic, and this kind of like really confused looking tradesman, like rubbing the sleep out of his eyes, is like pointing at you and yelling.
I go, hello friend. I assume I've learned that much.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, you can say, hello friend, my name is Muir.
Yeah, I am.
I like ducks.
27 years old. I like ducks. I stumble out and pretend to be drunk.
Sure, yeah, he kind of like he's, yeah.
What the hell?
They're Italian now.
Sure, yeah. So you kind of see the as you stumble away in the immediate aftermath of dealing with this guy into the streets of Carantal, you can see the drakes are just you can see them flying away, and you're like, they've totally not figured it out. And then the drake that you were on starts like making this like drake noise, and then you will see the rider go like look down, and everyone else you can hear this dude shout like one of them's gone, one of them's made it, what what do you mean one of them's gone? Like, I don't know, they vanished. Which one was it? It was the human. Well, I mean, she wasn't that important. Let's get these ones to the palace. We'll find her lair.
My God.
So yeah, the rest of you are all aware that yours appears to have vanished, and they don't seem especially fussed about that. And they kind of, unless anyone wants to do anything, they're going to bring you into the palace.
Would I notice at this point that Muir's away?
Yeah. They start yelling about it, but they don't seem especially bothered.
Oh, I'm trying to say whether I should go before we get locked up. I could probably do more good away than... I'm going to try that. Can I turn into like a little... Like, would the butterfly have manacles on it?
I don't know if it's got like limbs. It's like there's a you never really tried to do it before, but you certainly know that the druid theory, and part of the reason they don't wear metal is because it kind of like you can accidentally tin yourself if you turn into an animal. So having manacles on it might be kind of weird. Certainly, an animal that doesn't have any limbs, like a snake or a worm or something, is going to be a better bet than one that has some number of limbs. And and you're still going to have your manacles on when you turn back out of it, and the manacles don't like disappear or anything. They just sort of get absorbed, or kind of like reworked, if that makes sense. So it's kind of limbless is going to give you better odds at being okay. Some, if it does have limbs, it might be fine. You're not really sure.
Yeah, because anything I turn into after that will, like, to turn into something to fly away, will, I'll be manacled. I'll stay put.
Sure, okay.
Jake.
Yeah.
Speaking of manacles, can I think this established before I can just take my hand off.
Yes.
Can I just pop off and slip the manacle off?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You still got a manacle on the other hand.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Cool bracelet.
Yeah. The fashion statement.
Like, you are aware that anyone that sees you with a manacle on will be like, that person has manacles on. They're a prisoner or something.
Yeah.
But
can I cast invisibility on myself as
sure.
well?
Yeah.
And run to the palace.
Okay. Sure. So everyone else, certainly, they're going to arrive at the palace way before Mir does. Because you're in a strange city, you don't really know the way, you know roughly the direction. But it's a weird maze of streets and stuff like that. You had a quick look at the map, and it's not like a manufactured city. It's like an organic city, so everything's all like weird. The road layouts it's not a nice grid system or anything like that.
It's like Edinburgh.
Like Edinburgh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you invisible yourself and vanish from view. Everyone else, you get brought into the palace. There is a welcoming party there for you, of various, like important-looking knights. There's a blue-robed person that appears to be from Clan Ulrus, and the Drake's land. And Thran gets off and points to the guy who's on the prisoner list Drake, and he says, "Well, go find her." And they start talking in Draconic to the welcoming party, and Thran's like, "Well, what's the situation? What's the plan? We got the arseholes," and they're like, they explain that Rurak and Prafen and the missing women are to be sent immediately to cells, while Narinn and Zorgar are wished to be seen by Valansar himself. So there are two knights here with them. There is one there's a reasonable amount of people here, of like soldiers and stuff. It looks like they're taking this prisoner thing pretty seriously, compared to other times you've been imprisoned. And kind of as Thran is talking to them, there's this blue woman is like kind of gesturing over you and like casting magic kind of at you. Looks like she's like scanning you, basically. And there are these two knights. One of them is a red scaled woman. They're both dressed in like this really well done plate armor that matches their scales. Like the red woman has red dragon glass plate now. She's got this big great sword and this big long flowing cape behind her. And there's also this dude who is in, it's kind of like chrome plated armor, but it's like golden chrome plated glass armor. And he has this like double bladed like Thanos sword thing like strapped to his back. Like they're big dudes. You kind of recognize the silhouettes as matching like the blurry figures in the back of the council meeting that the Cerulean like brought you into briefly. And those two grab actually no, they sort of escort Thran and the dude that was carrying Zorgar and Narinn and Zorgar. They escort them towards the throne room. Rurak and Prafen, you get taken by not quite as nice looking knights, but fairly strong looking knights, and you start heading off in a totally different direction in the palace. If anyone wishes to do anything.
Are we gonna be walking through corridors and stuff?
Yes.
Are there windows?
There are windows, yes. The whole thing is a window, it's made of glass.
You can jump through it.
Are there breakable windows? The Americans he could feasibly jump through.
Yeah, one or two. They are like they have you by the manacles and like by the shoulders, like they're they're taking you seriously.
But before Narinn like passes by Rurik, is there a point where what's the closest point they're at?
You get about a foot away from each other.
Rurik would very bolsterously, very dwarf, like I don't know, just slap Narinn on the arse, say, "Go get him, big man," and give him
discuss this.
give
You
him
harassing little bastard.
an enhanced ability
Sure.
of Eagle Splendor, which means you have advantage on charisma checks.
If this party
Okay.
was more successful and we had a HR department, you'd be fucking done for.
You're like 3 times his age. 4 times his age.
Yeah, Grandpa.
5 times his age.
I don't know. Yeah, fair amount. Relatively. Similar.
Sure. Okay. So Rurik, you do that, and then one of the knights that is going to escort you, like immediately, like they draw their sword and like slap your hand like with the flat of it, and they're like, "No touching, this way."
Maybe they-
What's a friendly butt slap between friends?
I know. We'd never do this to our inmates or whatever.
I mean, like there's probably like a certain amount of crackle, when it goes off, to distinguish it from a regular one. So it probably looks like a somewhat unusual one, but they're not really sure why. But yeah, they start processing Rurik and Raffin into a totally different, like towards a totally different building. And Narinn and Zorgar get led into like the palace proper. So yeah, Matt, there is windows that you could probably jump through, but this is a pretty, like, the palace grounds are pretty big, and there are certainly like people. It seems clear that people know you were being imprisoned, and then there's like a big deal going on. So it's probably reason, like,
How tight is that grip there?
Tighter than it needs to be, definitely.
Like, is there a wall close enough that Narinn could like kick off the wall to fly through the window?
Maybe.
Or actually, could one of them be the wall and he kicks off them?
Maybe they like one of them, like, Thran definitely has you by the arm, and the other which one has you? I think the red knight has you by the other arm, so you're like being held down by 2 people. So it's like it's not impossible, but it's gonna be hard.
They're both grabbing each arm?
Like one of them has your left arm, one of them has your right arm.
Oh, I see. And is there ever a point where Thran is next to the window?
He's on the inside. There may be a point where you turn a corner and he like ends up like briefly near to a window, but you're also like you are also aware that this is like it's like the whole thing is like Scale are known for making really, really good glass, so presumably the windows are also like really, really good, so they might not be as easy to bust through as like another country's windows.
If you're throwing 2 Dragonborn at it.
That's true.
Why the hell not?
Use
I'll give it a
boats.
try. Whenever Thran is like, I see a window approaching that I think I can knock Thran through, and I'll try and kick off the other guy and shove the 2 of us through the window.
Okay, I mean, give us an athletics check.
Do I have the enhanced ability?
For charisma, I think, isn't it?
Charismatically shove him through a window.
Yeah. You have a
After
charisma
you?
enhanced.
Why did you give me a charisma there?
Well, Rurik was thinking you were going in for like chat, not diving through windows.
Wait, is you saying athletics check?
Yeah.
If you convince the window to open, maybe.
Oh!
Yeah, you don't need it. No need, man. See you later.
Okay. So you do the best you could reasonably do at it.
Yep. I want to kick off the other guard, slam Thran through the window with myself, and plummet.
Okay, let me
least
just
give him a
think
witty
about
remark.
it for a minute.
I'll give him a witty remark when he's got broken bones on the floor and I feather fall.
You're aware you're on the ground floor of the palace.
Oh, I was alright.
If that changes anything.
I kind of thought because the Drakes flew us in.
Yeah, the palace is like raised above the city, but you're still on the ground floor of the palace. So like you can try and you can like try and yeet yourself through the window, but you're gonna just kind of like land in like maybe a bush outside or something.
I'm still doing it. I'm going to knock him through and then try and roll away from it and just start running.
4 foot of death.
Yeah, maybe the
Maybe
shot will
allergic
be enough
glass.
to knock
Mm.
Thran off.
Allergic to glass.
Mhm.
No, you know,
Grass.
The wrong city.
people die when they trip. You know, if you've got a heavy dragonborn on top
It's
of you,
true,
you might
like,
break
if
your
I-
neck.
Knock him through at the right angle, maybe he lands on his neck funny and
Nah, you want him to land on his nose.
Maybe when he falls, he'll swallow a scorpion and it'll poison him from the inside. And then he'll die.
These are all fantastic ideas.
Yeah.
You get him to land on his nose, it will like pierce into his brain and then he'll die.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You know, and
Or
if
he
you're
falls on his back and his horns pierce into the ground so he can't get back up.
He's permanently handstanding.
Head standing.
Get me out of here!
Or horn standing.
Okay, so you quite successfully managed to do the kick. You get your angles right, and you're like, okay, you kick off this red knight, and you put the momentum behind you and Thran, and you slam into the window, and you do make a crack in it, but they like yank you back, because they're both like quite strong. You kind of like you're going by on the way, you sort of clip Thran on the nose and you bloody it. And you there's like this like stuff streaming down his face, and there's a nice nasty crack on the window.
so it kind of shows Narren's all isn't enough. He needs a belt to defeat a window.
Like you're quite confident that if it was just one of them holding you, you'd be fine and you would have totally done it. But the combination of them both restraining you and moving you forward, it's just you're not able to overcome just that, just on yourself. Although you did it again, give it a damn good try. And Thran is like, you've got this.
Narren's laughing at Thran at this point.
Yeah, he reaches up to punch you, and then this knight like her other hand grabs him and puts it down. And then she spins you around and says, "You are damn lucky the Scale Lord wants you alive, or you'd be dead." And kind of
one punch.
She just half scabbers her greatsword out of the back and rests it on your shoulder, and says, "I don't think so." And there you can see ahead of you. There's this. He kicks you in the back of the knee. And you can see there's this large set of double doors ahead of you. And as you kind of round the corner near them, they get opened up by people on the inside. You are, unless you have any other grand plans, you get sort of processed in.
Is there another window?
Other than the entirely transparent glass construction of this hallway, no.
Okay.
There's no extra windows, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's just solid glass bricks, basically. So you can see outside. It's almost like a sort of frosted effect because the glass is quite thick.
So can we see through the doors we're about to go through?
No, the doors are they're probably metal, I think. But the doors kind of opened up. You can see at the far end of the room you're about to enter into, there's this, the classic red carpet down the steps towards the corridor you're coming through. And at the top of the steps, there's this large glass throne, and reclining in the throne, there is a figure that Zorgar recognizes, but Narinn doesn't. He's black-scaled. He has these like small horns. He's wearing a crown, which he wasn't wearing when Zorgar last saw him. And he has this black gilded dragon glass armor, and he's sort of like reclining contemplatively as he watches you be brought in, and kind of impairs, flanking either side of the long walls of this corridor. There are these other knights that sort of match the two like Giga Knights that are escorting you guys. Giga Knight. You can see they're all in like different colors. There's a brass dude. He has like this big like war scythe, like kind of like a scythe, except it's just like 90 degrees up. And there is a white knight with a big like two-handed like sledgehammer maul thing. There is a copper knight with a rapier. There's a silver knight with a mace. There's a black knight with like a big like flail. And a bronze knight with a cutlass. And there's this blue knight who doesn't appear to have any weapons on him. And just sort of like kind of leaning against the walls, there's this green knight that doesn't appear to have any like big showy weapons. There's like a longbow on his back, and maybe something on his belt. And there's like an empty spot by the door, where presumably the red knight and the gold knight that are escorting you would go. And you get processed into the throne room. And meanwhile, Hrak and Raffen, you get taken to the much less grand regular penitentiary block, basically like prison processing by these knights. Do you make any like chit chat with them on the way there? They're talking in Draconic, but I don't think either of you guys really understand it.
I only did a little Draconic lessons. I didn't do all the ones, so I guess I wouldn't really understand it.
Sure.
Either you've been to Bronzehold recently?
Quiet.
I don't think so. People who've been to Bronzehold are usually happier. No.
Okay, kind of shove you forward a bit. Keep moving.
Moves on.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if you guys like share a language or whatever. You could probably speak to each other like secretly without these dudes knowing.
Giant? Do you speak Giant? Raffen?
I don't think I do. Hold on.
No. Hang on. I swear.
What languages do you speak?
I've got Celestial as well, but I think that's just written Altian Celestial, I believe.
Speak Common, Druidic, Elvish, and Primordial.
Yeah, no. Common, Dwarvish. I know I speak Giant as well and Altian, so no.
Sure. Okay. So you get led into like this prison building, and then they instruct you to strip all your stuff and put the belongings in a corner, basically.
All right.
Like, unless you'd rather we do it.
I mean, no, that's fine. I can do it myself. I know. I've been doing this for a long time. I do know how to undress myself.
Just get on with it.
If you insist, I will. That makes it quite painful for them. Quite awful. Yeah, Rick throws on the moves.
I hate when they do this. They always think they're the first, don't they?
Rick's very proud of himself right now.
He sexually harassed 3 people in 10 minutes.
Well, he's in prison, so...
Is that okay?
No.
They asked him to take the was up.
Yeah, actually, it was
Yeah.
requested of him. So
Fair.
yeah.
They kind of like as you're doing it, like when like we'll get the one like little like prison staff guy goes away and then comes back and hands like a bundle of stuff. One of the guards escorting you like throws this like bundle of cloth at you and says, "Put those on." And you kind of get hit in the face with this like cloth like shift, basically like prison clothes.
All right. Yeah, we'll throw it on.
Sure. Yeah, you kind of put it on, and immediately, like the cloth hits the bottom of the floor and like rumples of the shirt. You can see that these clothes are like way too big for you. Definitely dragonborn size.
Don't
Raph,
suppose
are
you
you-
have any.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to ask. I don't suppose you have any dwarven-sized garments at all,
Not yet.
or
We'll have
just
something.
a sewing needle. I can do it too.
Or tailor.
We'll have the tailors take care of it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, Raffin, are you complying with their order to strip everything
I'm
off
gonna
and
say,
put on the
like,
show?
I said I'll comply, but listen, I'm a druid here. This metal's killing me. Could we have some alternative? If I'm going to be bound, can we bind me with something that's not
Fetch more
metal?
glass.
Sorry?
They kind of they like take it and they're like they kind of take it on board, and then one of them runs away and then comes back a few moments later with another set of glass manacles. And they exchange them.
Beats.
And yeah, they throw you this like cloth shift to put on. I'm realizing it's somewhat difficult for you to put them on with manacles on. They probably like unmanacle you and like help you put them on and then like manacle you up again, both of you.
Can Rurak observe the manacling operation?
Sure, yeah.
Is there any trick to it, or is it literally just like a?
It's standard manacles. I don't know how manacles work personally.
Yeah.
But Rurak does.
Cool.
Yeah, you're like, okay, cool,
Rurak,
that's
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, they swapped your iron ones out for like glass ones as well. And you can see.
Okay.
They are more comfortable, but they're also stronger.
Yeah.
And if you're both like stripped off, they direct Raffin to one door, and they direct Rurak to a totally different door, and like the force of guards with you like splits. And looks like they're gonna escort you to entirely different like cell blocks, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you think we should make a break for it?
I don't know.
I'm guessing that the glass manacles won't be the same as the iron ones, then, Jake, will they?
Yeah, this is like when they remove the iron ones to replace them, you can see there is this big like it's almost like it's like branded into your skin, and this like outline of an iron manacle, and then they put the glass ones on, and it's almost like it's like soothing by comparison. You feel like a lot more like kind of a sort of a discomfort you weren't actually entirely aware of, kind of like washes away.
How many is there? How many guards are around us?
There's like 12 guards. Like you're gonna get escorted by 6 guards each.
I'm just thinking, because do you think we could take 12?
No.
If I turned into like a bear or I don't know, a gorilla or something.
Maybe not. Honestly.
Yeah, we didn't really think this whole surrender through. I was just
No.
thinking I should have stashed my staff with the army.
And there's solutions. I just think we need to patience. Have some patience.
No,
Stop
See
talking.
what happens.
That one, that door, you with us. They start forcefully leading Rurak away, and the other dudes grab Raffin and start leading him away as well. So unless you got any mad plans, they're gonna just put you in a prison cell, basically.
Yeah, we're actually just gonna say to Raffin, a bit of rest and meditation isn't gonna hurt. That's really it.
yeah, okay.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So you get processed in different directions, and kind of both like not simultaneously, but in similar times you get sort of thrust forcefully into a cell, and then you hear the sound of the door slamming shut and like being locked in place, and you can see both of you etched in the walls of your cell there are these like sigils, and you feel it's not particularly pronounced, but you do feel this kind of like sort of like weight on you. It's almost like a weighted blanket has been put over you. Like it feels like there's a kind of like a shell around you that is kind of like you feel like distinctly normal, in a way that you've never really felt normal before. If that makes sense. You both like Rurak and like you both definitely feel like you could access magic, but you just feel like your connection to magic is somewhat kind of blocked and limited, if that makes sense.
Any windows in these cells?
There are like kind of in the ceiling at the top. There is a kind of a grate, like a very small window. It's like maybe like it's almost like a missing brick that has been replaced with like glass stakes to let a bit of sunlight in. And your cells are sparsely furnished. You have a very small stool, and there's a bucket in the corner, and otherwise the floor is covered in like dirt and grime and sand. There's a bit of a stink to the place.
Go
on. Sorry.
Can Rurak just take his holy symbol and put it underneath the bucket?
Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't search your beard for anything. Like, so anything you have in your beard is still in there.
Cool. All right. It's good to know.
Have you got any bobby pins in there you can pick the log with?
I have a knife. And a
Got a
piece
knife
of
in your
dragon
beard?
glass. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the throne room, Narinn and Zorgar get processed in, and the door kind of creaks shut with this like shimmering glass on glass sound on the hinges. It shuts with a big meaty thud. You get processed forward, and Thran says, "The insurgents, sir," and the person who Zorgar understands to be Valisar and Narinn probably presumes is Valisar,
Piece it together.
says, "There's another. Where is she? The wizard, sir? They said she's not here. No, not the wizard. The Glomer? My mother! They had my mother with them. Find her!" And Thran sort of like, whoa, okay, and sort of like sheepishly, kind of him and the other rider, they get like kind of hustled out.
Was that the Giga Knights that got hustled out? Was it the Giga Knights? Or are they still holding us?
Yeah, the Giga Knights are still holding you.
Who's the dudes that just got?
Yeah, just the Dragon Riders just got like
Yeah.
dismissed basically.
Narinn ask, don't suppose that dinner invite's still open?
Hello, brother.
He kind of composes himself, and he adjusts the position of his crown. You can see kind of perched to the like on the right armrest of his throne, and his sword is propped up against it, and he looks at you, and he says, "Kneel."
Man, I hate him so much.
And you certainly get the impression that he has given you a command. Whether or not you wish to follow through on that command is up to you.
Probably just going to stand there.
Sure, okay.
I already see what's going to happen. I'm going to get kicked.
So I do just want to make it clear for the rest of the session, that like hit points only really apply strictly when in combat. Like you guys are definitely all at these dudes' mercy and could be quite summarily executed quite quickly. If you and that'd be abundantly clear to your characters as well, right? Just to.
I'm making you aware of this.
I do just want to make you aware of it, so that I don't know what's going to happen, but in case something does happen, I don't want it to be a surprise, right? So are you both just standing there?
I have a question, Jake.
Yeah, go for it.
If one of us was to be executed, we don't get a final stand, do we?
I would cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
Are they going to execute us?
Well,
You guys.
Possible.
That's a little
They
harsh.
sent assassins after us for years. When they finally get us, they won't go be like, oh, finally, welcome home.
I'll escort you to your bedroom.
Kettle's on. If you want anything, just let us know.
Fridge is stocked.
Going to get a takeaway tonight. That'd be nice.
Oh yes, in a curry.
So yeah, so he orders you to kneel. What is your guys' reaction to that?
When he says kneel, he means on both knees, or?
He doesn't really
You
seem
would
to make
kneel
any.
to someone of royalty. You go down on one knee.
You don't get the
Zorgar
impression
has
that
a
he's going to be
knight
especially
doing this.
picky. But yeah, the done thing would be one knee. That would certainly be one knee. Would be like kneel before someone that is your better. You can kneel on both knees. Would be more like someone who you are at their mercy.
I'm not doing it.
And Narinn, what are you doing?
Narinn probably just looks at Zorgar and then looks back at Balasar and laughs and just stands there.
Sure. So as the golden claw is behind Zorgar, and the red claw is behind Narinn, and they both they look at one another and they kind of like hiss at you, like, kneel before your king.
He's not my king.
Naryn's probably going to crudely try and bribe the knight behind him.
What does that look like?
No, he just kind of turns his head slightly to angle more towards that knight, and it's like 1,000 gold if you undo my cuffs right now.
She's certainly going to try and kick you to your knees. So if you want to remain standing, give us an athletics check.
Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, the other thing, like the other guys, do the same. Okay, so simultaneously, they both in unison raise their gun and they kick at the back of your knee, and you both kind of tense up ready for it. You kind of expected this was gonna happen. You tense up ready for it to stay standing, and the big gold dude like Zorgar, you feel your knee like pop forward and you buckle under the weight a little bit until you fall down on one knee. Narinn, you managed to stagger forward and remain standing. And then the red knight is basically moves to continue forcing you to your knees, and Balasar just kind of waves his hand and says,
I'll stand back up again.
the gold dude is gonna try and hold you down.
I'll still try and stand up.
Sure,
again.
yeah. Yeah, I mean he's probably like Zorgar trying to stand back up, from he probably kind of gets taken aback a bit, and you're able to stand back up. And Balasar kind of crosses his arms and says, "So you're the two that have proved so troublesome. I confess you're rather less intimidating than other rumors make you out to be."
That might have something to do with the 2 sets of cuffs you have on our arms.
Good answer.
That was a good answer. And he stands up and he picks his sword up and he buckles it onto his belt, and he looks at Zorgar and he says, "Your face I recall." And he turns to Narinn and says, "Yours I do not. Have you anything to say for yourselves?
How can we help you? Received a letter from you before. Is there any contact? Nice to meet you. I'm your brother, Narinn.
What's up, brother?
So you insist.
Do you deny it?
He kind of looks at you both. He says, "Such sorry vac as you do not Markex make." He kind of like he kind of sort of like punctuating his sentences as he like sort of steps down the steps from the throne towards you, and he kind of stops, like kind of like he's on like the third step, so he's still like a foot or two taller than you, like looking down. With his arms
He's
crossed.
a foot or two taller than us.
When he's on the steps, you're kind of like looking at him. You're like, he's probably like an inch or two taller than us, but there's like not much in it.
If I get on Zorgar's shoulders there.
Oh, you definitely taller if you got on Zorgar's shoulders.
Almost double the size.
If one of you is wearing platforms as well, or Cuban heels.
Can't be teamwork.
I'm wearing big boots.
Yeah, I mean he's also wearing like pretty chunky boots. But you're even like like when you saw him in Meriden, you were like, nah, dude's like an inch taller than me.
You'd be wearing just like some trainers or something.
So what was the last thing you said, Matt?
I introduced myself as brother.
Oh yeah, you said yeah.
Asked if he declined. Yeah.
He says, "Where is mother?"
Sorry to break it to you, I only have a stepdad. I don't know where he is.
He steps forward and he strikes you across the face with the back of his hand and says, "Do not lie to me."
Oh, Mum. Right.
If we did know where she was, you've given us no reason to tell you where she is.
I have you entirely at my mercy. I should think that reason enough. And they kind of punctuate that the dude's behind you by like you hear the sound of like drawing of swords, and then you feel this like you feel the cold feel of like glass on your armor. Well, you probably wouldn't feel it, but you feel the pressure. As like the woman with the sword rests her great sword blade on Naren's shoulders, and the dude with the like the kind of like double-ended sword thing like rests one end of it on Zorgar's.
Healing us isn't going to help you find out where she is.
Is she that threatening to you?
No threat at all.
Why does it matter where she is?
Because I wish to see her.
Haven't you been trying to see us for this long time? You finally managed to get us here.
Just ask where our mum is.
He sort of looks at you like you get the impression that he's not entirely sure like what entirely like to say, really. He kind of sort of turns back towards the throne and he says, "I've been looking forward to this day, and that it's arrived. The whole thing is rather underwhelming. To have such sorry men claim kinship with me."
I'm sorry it took 2 legions to capture us. That was quite pathetic of us. And of course, you couldn't be there yourself, too busy on the throne.
He kind of turns back around and he says, "Watch your tongue."
Thought you would have bigger plans for us when you got us here. Being that you're such a powerful king.
He says, "I am considering my options." Tell me, you who would so readily wear my crown, what would you do in my position? I recall the senior cleric's answer somewhat illuminating when I gave him the same question.
Can you
Don't
lay
remember
out
ever
your
saying
situation?
wear the crown.
What are you saying, Matt?
Can you lay out your situation? Paint a picture.
You feel this scrape on your shoulder as the blade draws like just like an inch or so closer to your neck. You can now feel it like against your skin. And Balasar turns and he says, "What would you do if two separatist rebels claimed to be your brothers and insisted on sowing discord in the country that you had brought to greatness? What punishment would you give them?"
Personally, I'd acknowledge their skills, seeing as how far they've made it, and see that family ties are the strongest ties of all. And I'd perhaps even consider making them my right-hand men to carry forth these grand lifelong plans.
He looks at Zorgar.
You hardly know me, let alone Narinn.
Give us a chance. Breakfast.
Persuade me.
Well, you know I am actually proficient in persuading.
Our tales should convince you themselves. We've thwarted many of your assassins. We've defeated multiple leaders in the past, cults, armies.
Not to forget, this guy here is a terrific sailor.
And this guy was a knight. Need quite the
On
qualifications
scale,
there.
no less.
I was meaning like on the mainland. Double qualified.
The Green Knight in the corner says, "Sire, they are mocking you. They are making a fool of this whole charade." And Balasar looks at him and he says, "A good thing skill will never live to see the day where you lead them."
Not looking
Again,
to lead
when
them.
did we ever claim we wanted to?
Just a bit of, sibling rivalry. That's all. We never said we wanted the crown.
Just don't want me to have it.
Narinn, you notice him clock your scale.
Well,
You notice him like flick his eyes down to it.
this is the one time when it wouldn't be good. You like?
He kind of walks over, and he
Get jealous?
like he's got
I
he's
know
got
where
like
this
his
is
like
going.
claws, right? And he like kind of
I
like
know
scrapes
where
it.
this is going.
And he says, "A convincing fake."
I can tell you the story if you want, but I assure you it's not a fake. I wasn't born with this scale, but it did turn gold on my travels.
Another tall tale for the children, I assume. And he kind of
Another benefit to having me at your side.
like
Many a tale.
he says, "One should put little stock in tales." And he like
Which
kinda,
you don't
like,
know.
puts his claw in it for him, and like you feel him like grip the sides of it.
You was gotta do this little dick.
And he says, "They're meaningless," and he rips your golden scale out of your arm
Fuck.
and like flings it.
Wow.
Maybe though it'll make the others spread madly. Maybe.
And he. What is Narren's reaction to having his scale ripped out of his arm? Like, it's probably quite sore.
Curiosity,
Straight face.
Mainly from Matt not knowing much about reptiles. Do scales regrow?
But
That scale
yeah,
from
but
that?
you'd have to like shed your skin, which you probably have to do like occasionally. Like you molt like every like couple of years.
Ew.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I thought they regrew their feathers.
I mean, I don't actually know. I guess we can check for next week. I was under the impression that you have to like shed your skin, like you can regrow, but it regrows under them, and then you have to like get rid of your skin.
Some lizards can like regrow tails and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's
I'm not
try.
sure. The Valasar kind of like he looks at the blood on his thumb and kind of turns, sort of like looks at the red and gold knight behind you guys. He says, "Take them away. I'll decide their fate soon." And they kind of grip you,
Why wait?
and he marches back up towards the throne. And they start leading you back out. And two other of the Giga Knights like fold in as well and grab you by your other arms. Narinn, your arm is like leading where the scale's been pulled out.
A quick Google search. Some lizards can regrow their scales, but
Alright.
some have to, like you said, shed their skin.
Yeah, I'm not sure which Dragonborn are. At some point that scale will regrow in one way or another.
Will it be gold is the question.
You'll have to find out.
Find out next time.
So they process you out of the throne room, and then, similarly to Rack and Ratten, there comes a point where they split and take you in wildly different, like opposing directions. So there's a small window where you can speak to each other.
You say.
As in a small window to speak to one another. Window of time.
Window in time.
So we can see where the path looks, but soon we know we're gonna.
Yeah.
Probably going down different ones.
Yeah, probably.
I guess I'll see you shortly. On the way out,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Probably.
Wink, wink.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So, Zareth, you dimension doored to the side of a mountain. What was Zareth's plan after that? It's been a few hours since that happened.
Oh, it was like a small bit. She probably just went to sleep.
Sure. Okay. Then.
Get a long rest in.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, you wake up. It's kind of dawn. You kind of. As the sun's like right in your eyes, and you kind of sort of like roll over a little, and then you kind of because you're like within an inch of rolling off the ledge. You can see it's morning. You're on the side of the mountain. What's your plan?
Kind of close to like where the temple would have been.
I mean, you're within about 500 feet of it.
Do I hear any noise?
Yeah, you hear the noise of like it sounds like people like packing and like general like kind of camp noises, basically.
Okay. Is there a way for me to just like climb up a bit?
Yeah, there's a somewhat precarious path, but you should be able to take it back up towards near, if not where the temple was.
I just want to have keep like an eye on the temple, I guess, and try and keep out of sight.
Sure. Okay. So you head back up. You can see this morning the temple's a little weaker. The walls are, they're a little. They kind of like some parts of them kind of like fade a little bit, and you get a little window into what's going on inside, and then it goes opaque again. So occasionally you catch glimpses of the troops inside the temple just doing general stuff. They're kind of all like sort of sitting around, talking to one another, debating stuff. And you can see kind of just like on the You can see like just outside. You can kind of see the 6th Legion on the other side of the temple, like a little slimmer into what's going on there. It looks like they're packing up, getting ready to head off down the cliff, down the mountainside again.
I'm gonna stake it out until the army leaves.
Sure.
And then rejoin our army.
Okay. Sure. Muir, what are you up to? You're in the city. Invisible.
Yeah, we're running towards the palace.
Sure, okay. So you head back up towards you head up towards the palace. And you know, it's a maze of streets and stuff, and you're trying to figure stuff out, and you know, occasionally you also try not to bump into people. And like, and you kind of, it takes you a little bit to find your bearings. You get slightly lost occasionally, but you kind of find a fairly prominent road that looks like it leads up to the palace. And you can see there's like an outer wall of the palace, and it looks like all the gates are shut. You're not sure whether the gates are normally shut, but certainly on this morning the gates are shut. And there are guards posted on either side.
Okay. I still have that robe that does weird stuff, don't I?
Which robe?
The patchy robe.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Cool. I've been meaning to use that for a while, so I guess, yeah, probably do that. I mean, does it look climbable at any point?
No, it's pretty. It's not a big. It's not like a tall wall, but it's not like it's very smooth wall. So it doesn't look super climbable. And it's kind of tall enough that it's sort of like, it's tall enough that it's like dangerous to climb, and smooth enough that it's difficult to climb. If that makes sense.
Are there people going in and out of it?
No, doesn't seem to be any traffic in and out of the palace right now.
Well, let me just consult my spells real quick. I got. There yeah, can I use the last of my patches, which is, I think it's a window or a door frame. I can't remember which it is.
Sure, okay.
Pretty sure it's a window.
Okay.
And just plonk it in the wall and jump through.
Sure, okay, yeah. Yeah, so you kind of rummage around in your pack a little, and you kind of hoist yourself up by the wall. Have a little rummage around, look through you try and, you know, like pulling through rolls of fabric, trying to find the patch on the robe. Pull the patch off, and then you feel the rope like fizzle and turn this like basically like a grey tablecloth. And you kind of have this like window-shaped patch, and you kind of look around and you go, and you like throw it on the wall like a fridge magnet, and then you're able to, you know, just hoist the window and go and like kind of like roll through, and you hear some draconic voices going, what? But you're through the wall into the kind of palace compound, and you see there are a bunch of buildings around here. There's a fairly large, prominent one that looks like it's probably the main palace, where like stuff happens. And you can see up ahead there are like various patrols of guards, and generally a bunch of kind of nondescript buildings, and you're not entirely sure what their function is. So what is your plan?
I guess if I don't know what the other buildings are, to the palace.
Sure, okay.
I don't suppose there's a map that says you are here.
Nope.
And okay.
Certainly not anywhere prominent. Sure, okay. So you head into the palace, or kind of up towards the palace, and you can see there is a big door into the main palace. There's a sort of a plaza bit outside, and you can see Thran and one of the other dudes, one of the other Drake riders, like walking like across the courtyard to where their drakes are, talking to one another. You're not entirely sure what they're saying.
Can I scoop up a bunch of rocks?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Just put them in a little sack or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably just walk on past. Maybe do a little pebble on the back of one of their heads.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So the problem you will find doing that is that the rocks aren't invisible, and the bag isn't. The bag is invisible, but the rocks aren't. So you'll be holding a bag of floating rocks.
Okay. Maybe not then.
Sure.
I'll probably just a rock at him for fun and then scarp her.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. You well, give us I mean, let's just roll the d20 and see how you do. 14 is pretty good. You probably hit him with that. So you kind of pick up a rock and go, "Hew!" and you arc it through the air, and it clunks him on the back of it. Like, fuck! What the and you see there's a hapless guard nearby, and he kind of points at him and says, he says, "Right," and he draws his sword and it like moves over to him, and the guard's like, "What the fuck?"
I throw another rock at him.
He kind of stops and hang on, let's see. That one falls short of the mark.
I throw another one at him. I keep throwing rocks at him until he leaves that guard alone.
Sure. So you kind of hurl rocks at him. He's like he kind of stops in front of the guard, and the guard's like, "Oops," and he kind of looks around.
Then I run off.
Sure. Give us what's your stealth modifier? Because it's probably gonna be a stealth check. So he's like looking around for something untoward. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay.
Obviously you'll be invisible, so it's still like 16.
Do dragonborn children go tee hee hee as well?
Probably, yeah.
I think all
Probably
children
chuck in
go
one of those for
tee-hee.
good measure.
Sure, okay. He's like, he kind of like looks around. You scarp her, and you hear kind of like grumble in Draconic, and you hear this other one kind of like, man, come on. I mean, and start talking Draconic back, and they're like, yeah, whatever. And they walk back towards their drakes, and they look as if they meant up. And you see the guard. And kind of just sort of take a breather. But yeah, you are in and around the palace area. You can see the thing with the palace is that there's again a big set of doors, and the doors are shut.
Question.
Uh-huh.
This place is made of glass.
Yes.
Would shatter the spell break glass?
This glass is too good for that.
Too good for it, huh?
Yeah.
Right,
Must get pretty hot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Feels quite a hot place, right?
Magnifying the sun, trapping
It's
all
like
the air
Mauritius
in.
climate.
Cold-blooded.
The lizards like that. Good for lizards.
Good for lizards.
How long is the long rest again?
8 hours.
8 hours, okay. Is there some kind of servant's entrance or around the back? Can I have a look?
Yeah, you can probably, you can find another entrance into the palace. There's a servant's entrance, and it's also closed when you arrive. It is more well trafficked. Like it's a swing door, and people are going in and out of it, grumbling to one another. But,
yeah, just tag along behind one of them when they go in.
Yeah, you sneak in. You can hear these two dragonborn having a conversation in front of you. You can hear the words.
Did they take my helmet off?
They did not.
It's a telepathy one. I don't know if how that works with languages and stuff.
The Helm of Telepathy. So you can cast Detect Thoughts.
Oh, you cast it. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. It's just an action. You can just do it.
Oh, it's not. Is it limited?
It's not limited. The suggestion one is limited. You can just. There's the Detect Thought spell isn't.
Okay, so I can hear one person at a time then.
Yeah, I just want to check in case they're aware that you're listening. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So you can get the surface thoughts without alerting them, or you can try and probe them. And if you probe them, they know you're there.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. Right. Just okay. Any interesting gossip you're thinking about?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So you kind of are you kind of like flipping between both of them, or are you just focusing on one? Yeah.
Probably just the one.
Just the one. Yeah. So this dude, he's worried about, he's like, man, I don't know. I mean, I didn't get as many hours this week as I thought I was gonna, so I don't know if I'm gonna make my rent next month. And he's like, I need to get a present for my mum. And then of course it's Aunt What's Her Face's birthday soon, so I better get a present for that. And then, oh man, that's gonna put me short for next month. And man, I really wish I'm gonna have to go and talk to my overseer and see if I can get any more hours, because I'm not gonna. Man, this is gonna be hard. Maybe if I made a present, it'd be okay. And he's like, but then if I go and talk, he shouted at me last week about it and stuff. And then and they're kind of. It seems like they're discussing. They're just generally moaning about some of the royals, and they're like, well, maybe because we worked this like special day with the special prisoners coming in, then maybe we'll get like bonus pay or something, or maybe, I wonder if I can threaten to like blab, and then maybe, but then I suppose they're gonna tell people who it is soon, because there'll probably be like a hanging or something, the next week or so everyone will find out soon anyways. So I guess I don't know really. This is difficult. Maybe Uncle What's His Face will give me a loan.
Can I do the probe thoughts thing about where they keep special prisoners? Because I assume they would know.
Yeah, probably, yeah. They will know that there's someone in their head, though.
That's fine.
Okay. So they gotta make a wisdom save. You got a 13, which I'm expecting is not going to be enough. So yeah, you kind of probe him, and you're like, it's helped by the fact that you're quite a smart lady. But you can see that the based on what this dude is worried about, he's like, I've got to get meals to like 5 different places at the same time, because they're all being kept in separate cell blocks. Except we don't know what's going on with this one. So you're able to surmise that they are separating everyone, and the security is really high on these 5 separate blocks. Like they're keeping everyone in their own like individual blocks, and like some other prisoners have been transferred out and like shunted into like a bigger block, and things like that. So you're yeah, you're able to figure out that there are 5 separate prison blocks that people are being put into, and people are deliberately being separated, and security is being heightened on those blocks because specifically they're not sure who is being imprisoned, but they know that they're a big deal and they've broken out of prison before, and the scale people know this, so they're trying their best to sort of like guard against that.
See them try. Okay, cool. Do I have a vague notion of where they might be? Like what floor?
You only get there in 5 separate buildings.
Okay. Time to go searching then.
Sure. Okay. And then you kind of you kind of probe in, and then you kind of get this like, hey, what's going on? Is someone else here in my head? This is my head. What's going on? And then this person like frantically like looks around, but obviously you're invisible, so they don't see anything, and they kind of like look at they're kind of sort of like confront the person they're with in Draconic. And are you just heading off?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, you vanish. Give us a perception check.
Can you
I gotta do that, yeah. So. Perception. 11. That's probably good enough to notice. Yeah, so you head out of the servants' quarters again. Or are you going back into the courtyard, or are you going further into the palace?
Yeah, further into the palace.
Further into the palace, okay. Yeah, so you head further into the palace, and you kind of... Are you just kind of like basically tailing someone who's opening doors and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you follow this person who seems to be on the move somewhere, and you head out into the palace, and then you see kind of coming around the corner, you see Narinn and this red plate armored lady with a great sword, and also who else would be with him? Probably there's a big black knight with like a big flail, and they've got him by the arm, and they're kind of processing him in a direction.
I follow until I have a better plan.
Sure. Okay. So Muir's following Narinn. Rurak and Raffin, are you going to be doing anything while you're in jail, or are you just kind of hanging out? Is there anything you guys want to get up to while you're in there? There's not a
I'm
huge
kind of
amount to
curious
do.
about the magic thing. Are we like? Am I feeling like I couldn't change, or I couldn't?
You're pretty confident you can still change. You're just like it's like it might be difficult to cast. You feel like it'll be more difficult to cast your like higher level spells.
Okay.
Like your potent magics.
Kind of getting itchy feet. I don't like being in prison.
Yeah.
What's the cell like? Is there a window? Is there?
There's a grate at the top, with like little bars, just to let some sunlight and air in. It's about.
Does that go straight outside? Does it?
Looks like it, yeah.
And so I know that Muir's away, but I don't know where.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm tempted to leg it.
Yeah. I feel that.
And I wouldn't be able to. Would I be able to judge where? Like, I'm just wondering if I could turn into like a bug or something, and then see if I could find Rurak. I don't know how I'd get you out.
All right. We'll figure it out. Jake, is Rurak able to make bird calls? Trying to call for any raven or raven-like animals?
Yeah, probably.
See, if you could do that, you could send me a message.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That's
if
good
it works.
thinking, Batman.
Hey, we'll see what works. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, you can kind of do a kind of an average job of mimicking a raven's call. You've been around wings long enough; it's kind of like burned into your skull. Yeah. So are you just wanting to do that?
Yeah, I want to do that and try and ideally call a raven over. And, I don't know. See if it works.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So you start doing your raven call. How long are you gonna do it for? If there's no results, how long are you gonna go until you stop?
I'll do 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. And Rafa, what are you doing?
I'm like, I want to see, like, can I see, how much can I see of like the outside of my cell? I know there's a grate above me. Does that look like it's going to outside?
That definitely looks like it's going to outside. You can feel there's fresh air coming through that.
And what about the inside? Like, what's on the other side of my cell door?
It's a fairly dingy, like it's like a prison complex that you're in. Like you're in like a cell block, except there are no other prisoners in here. And there is, you can see, kind of immediately after being thrown in here, the guards are kind of talking to one another, and they, one of them goes away, and then they come back with like a jailer dude, who is like perched, kind of, on a bench, like looking in the door at you, kind of watching you. He's not said anything at all.
Oh, he's watching me though.
He's just watching you, yeah.
All right, I'll keep an eye. Now, can I sort of see if I can spot a pattern with the guards? Like, like, I'm looking for an opportunity that when nobody's looking at me, that I can potentially disappear. I'm tempted to say I could try and contact a bird, but I wouldn't know that Rurak's doing that, would he? Would I?
No.
No, and I'm not sure I would make that connection that he's likely to try and do that. Yeah, no, I think I'll try and study the guard movements and see if I can. So what I want to see if I can find out is, can I see where they took Rurak?
You
you
know
know,
the
like-
direction they took him in, but you don't know anything more than that. Like, you watched
Right,
him walk
okay.
through a door, and you know where the door that he went through is, but you're not sure
So,
how
I'll
where he
say
went
my
after that.
working plan is to watch the guards. I'm looking for an opportunity that nobody's looking at me, where I could turn into like a little mouse and
Sure.
scuttle around and try and find where Rurak is.
Sure, okay.
Oh, I've just got your message, Rurak.
that,
The flying snake.
Yeah, that was earlier. I thought maybe that could be good if you were trying to escape
That would be
when we were
sweet.
flying.
I was going to go for flying squirrel.
Flying skull would be good. Yeah.
Sure, okay. So, right, 2 minutes go by. And all you manage to accomplish, and there are no birds arrive. You also have a jailer, who's been kind of in around. He's like doesn't look pretty. He looks kind of like he's kind of like hacked off to be here, and he kind of like sort of like leans back, doesn't pay much attention to you sometimes, and he start like making bird noises, and he just like looks at you, and you keep doing the bird noises, and he's like, "Shut up."
I'm just gonna do like all the dwarven folk songs in whistle form. Occasionally bird noises.
Shut up.
No. I'll give him a break every few minutes.
Yeah, all that seems to have accomplished so far is just to hack off your jailer.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
You certainly don't see any ravens turn up. But
Okay.
it's not to say ones might not. Yeah, the jailer's just like, man, fuck this guy, fuck this dwarf guy. What the fuck want me here? You hear him like muttering under his breath, and you pick up like somebody like broken bits of conversation every now and then. He's kind of just shaking his head and like looks at you and shakes his head again.
I think we'll probably have a pray and probably just generally ask, do you think it's worth waiting around? Like that's kind of to Altius.
Oh sure, you're kind of asking him for.
Yeah.
So like, what does Rurak hope he will accomplish by waiting around? If that makes sense.
He hopes that there'll be a situation where he can help the entire party escape, where he can use one of his spells to when we're all gathered up to escape. But if it looks like we're not going to be all gathered up, then
Sure. So you gotta kind of like, are you just asking Altius for guidance, or are you like trying to do like one of your like divination spells?
just guidance.
Just guidance.
Unless I can do a divination as a ritual. Forget
maybe.
which. Maybe one second. Let me have a look. I forget which one it is that is the divination. It's not my spell list. Hang on. I can do divination as a ritual.
Sure. What does divination do?
Your magic and an offering you put in contact with God or God's servants. You ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity within the next 7 days. Cool. I will ask, will I be reunited with my party?
Within the next 7 days.
Yep.
So I mean, it would probably be phrased as like a weird omen or something, or a short phrase, or like a rhyme or whatever it says. He basically says, "Difficult to say, seems unlikely."
Okay. In that case, Vrak's going to... Ooh, I don't know if we should wait around for Hrafen. There's no way of communicating, though.
There's not. I'm just wondering.
Um...
Well, obviously you wouldn't know, but I'll keep trying to wait for my opportunity and leg it. I'll try and find you.
How high level sending? Is a 3rd level?
Yeah.
Can I take time to prepare sending and then cast at 4th level?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Then I'll try and cast sending to Hrafen, and I'll give detailed instructions of which cell I'm in from where we split off. But I'll also say I might be able to leave now. But if I do, I'll be gone.
Can I speak back to you if you send to me?
Yeah, you can answer in a like manner immediately.
Alright, well, do I receive the message then?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to reply and say I can conceivably, I think I can change, so I could come to you, or I can escape out the top. If you can escape, we could escape separately, but meet up somewhere. And are we able to have a conversation, or is it just he sends me a message, I send one back?
It's he sends you a message, you send one back.
Right, I think. Because I'm trying to. I don't know what's best. Let me think. What was your message again, Rurik?
Instructions of where my cell is, and I have a chance to leave using magic from my cell. Might take it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Could I? So there's no way. I think I'll either have to say wait for me or take your chances and go. I'm just trying to think which one. Am I quite confident, Jane, that I can turn into something and fly the fuck out of there?
Yeah, you're pretty sure. I might not be able to fly, but you're pretty confident you can turn into something that would be able to like go up through the bars and like it that way. And certainly be able to escape
yourself. Have I identified a time? Is there looking like there's a moment where I might be able to?
There doesn't seem to be much of a pattern. Like it's mostly just been this guy's just been like sitting there like looking at you. He does look fairly sleepy, so you might not doze off at some point. I'm not sure when that would be. Like you've not been in there long enough to know when the shifts change or anything like that. It's only been like half an hour.
Would I have any idea about how successful Rurak's likely? Like clearly he doesn't need rescued then.
Doesn't sound like it. We have no idea what he's gonna do.
Alright, I'll send a message back and say, if you can escape. I'll get out of here. I'll change and get out of here and meet you outside of the city.
No.
No.
How much of a back and forth can we do?
That's
here,
it.
Jake?
You get the message and the reply, and that's it.
Okay. Well, you didn't hear me say no there. Because I heard your message. Can I send a sending to Narinn?
Yeah.
Okay. Hrafen and I are in a cell, or are in different cells. I potentially have a chance to escape, should I take it.
Go for it. Why not?
Go for it. You gotta go for it.
And then I'm going to send my last 4th level spell to
Should have
Hrafen.
wrapped something else into that sentence, but oh well.
Oh well. I'll say to Hrafen, my one-way trip is my escape is a spell that takes me to Meriden. I'm about to go. Join me if you want to. Narinn said it's okay for me to go.
Well, yeah, because if I joined you, if I could get to you, then if I could get to you and we travel to Meriden, can I come with you to Meriden? Would I know that you'd be able to do that? Because once we're together, I can daisy chain us or daisy highway us back to wherever we need to go.
Yeah.
It would be better to stay together, I think.
We can do that.
Right. I'll send a message back saying, hang fire. I know where you are. I'm going to change into some sort of animal and like something little and come and find you.
All right.
Okay. So, is the guy, how sleepy is the guy looking, Jake?
He's sort of like he kind of
I'm going to sort of slump down and look like I'm I'm resigned to my fate for a few minutes, and see if like put my feet up, look like I'm going to go to sleep.
Sure. Yeah. He kind of he's just taking he just looks like he's taking like longer blinks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you might be able to time it on a blink.
All right. So once I'll give it a few minutes of me sort of looking like I'm dozing off, look a bit sleepy, be a bit snory, and try and keep a sort of a side eye on him, see if he's not looking. And the moment when I think he's not looking, I'm gonna turn into like a little fly.
Sure.
A buzzy fly.
Buzzy fly. Sure. Okay. So yeah, you watch him at the side of your eye, and you kind of pick up on his rhythms, his blink rhythms, and then you kind of okay, 3, 2, and then you go, and you kind of shrink down to a fly, and he kind of he opens his eyes, and goes and he sort of like stands up, and he's like, what, and he runs towards the door.
So I'm going to fly all the way to Rurak.
Sure, okay.
Following his directions.
Give us a survival check to follow his directions.
2-6.
The other thing you guys notice with your sendings is that they're kind of like we would know what like talking on our walkie-talkies like, but it's kind of like the message kind of comes through like that. You're still able to make it out, but it definitely feels like there's some kind of like weird interference on it, compared to like when you're normally cast sending between one another.
Right, I rolled, but I don't know if anything happened. I didn't see a dice.
7 is what's just come up with mine.
7?
7.
That's rubbish.
Sure. So you're in a strange city in a strange layout. You got fairly garbled directions, and you're having to contend with like fly vision now. So you buzz outside of your cell. You kind of buzz around, and it takes you like 15 minutes, before you kind of buzz past a window, and you kind of and you buzz back, and you can see there's a little dwarf there, kind of like in the cell, and there's a kind of another jailer kind of across from his door, with his arms crossed, kind of like shaking his head at him.
Right, I'm going to, because Rurak won't know it's me as a fly, will he?
Seems unlikely.
So I'm going to land right on the tip of Rurak's nose. And I'm going to perch there because flies wouldn't do that.
Sure.
I'm hoping Rurak will pick up on the signal, and then I'll just crawl into his beard.
Oh. Right. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, I see. Rurak was primed to flick the fly.
Yeah, I'm going to land in his nose. I'm going to going to turn round and round and round a few times, and then stop, and I'm going to stare him right in the eye.
Sure. So as you kind of lift your finger up to flick, the car's like, "What are you doing now? What is that? Some kind of dwarvish thing?"
My nose.
So are you swearing at me? Your nose is itchy.
Yeah, this is a swear, and I'll do something. That was me itching my nose. Jesus.
You mean Altius?
Altius. Altius' son. Rurak turns his back to the jailer. And,
he kind of spits on the ground at you.
Fair enough. Alright. Yeah, Rurak's gonna, I guess, I think he's kind of gotten the idea that this is Raffin as a little fly. Had a little stare down with it for a little while.
Mhm.
So I think Ralph's gonna try and cast a spell.
Okay. What spell is it and what level is it? Well, actually, what level is it?
The spell
Would
is
there be
6th
some
level. I'm
commotion
going to
in the
sixth level.
guards just now, like because I've disappeared? Would that travel as far as Rurak's cell?
Yeah, probably like a moment or two after this guy spits on the ground. You know, the door slams open, and you know, Raffin, you can kind of see through the folds of beard hair. The jailer you recognize, and they start talking to one another in Draconic, and the guy stands up and he's like, "Hey, what?" And they kind of look at Rurak and they
Yes,
kind of
Rurak who knows something's up.
yeah, and then they kind of talk to one another, and they're like, it looks like they're not entirely sure, and then one of them like runs off, and then you can hear like this bell ringing sound, and the jailer sort of stands up and like crosses his arms and looks at Rurak and says, "You and your pals think you're pretty clever, don't you?"
Rurak doesn't reply, and just speaks the word. He's casting a word of recall.
Okay.
Which is 6th level. Casting at 7th.
Okay.
Yeah. If that works.
Yeah. So there are wards on this place to prevent particularly higher level magics from working. So you're gonna have to make a roll to see if it happens. We're trying to figure out the specifics on what kind of roll it would be. Let me have a think here. Can you roll 1d20 minus the level of the spell?
Okay.
You gotta try and be a 10.
You should have done it higher.
I don't have an option. That was
Oh,
my
I
only
see.
option. Yeah.
Well, you can detach the level of the spell.
Sorry?
You can detach like the level of the. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Unless
so
I have an inspiration to use. But
well, I mean, yours is divine
This
magic,
was
so you can have
inspiring.
advantage on it.
okay.
Because like it's mostly designed to counter arcane magic.
Okay. No.
Yeah, you speak the word, and it kind of fizzles, and it doesn't really go anywhere. You're still standing in the cell.
Uh-oh.
You don't lose the
Raffin,
slot yet. Actually, no, you do lose the slot.
Raffin, you might want to go back to your cell. Pretend you're playing a little trick, because I can't leave. I just tried.
I'm wondering, how many guards are there? Oh, we've gone through this before. We can't really fight our way out, can we?
I'm spent. I've got 1 spell left, I think. 3.
There's no plants anywhere near here?
Nope. There's a small amount of moss growing in between the cracks of one of the bricks.
Is that enough for me to do anything with?
Depends what you want to do with it.
I mean, the only thing I can do is really make it grow, I suppose, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, I wonder if we could...
Raffin, fly out that grate. Get somewhere safe. Do whatever you're going to do. Just don't worry about me for
What are you
now.
mumbling now?
Dwarvish hymns. And I
Yeah, keep
sing
it down.
Dwarvish hymns.
I'm going to crawl out of his beard, back onto his nose. I'm going to buzz slowly 3 times, and then I'll fly out the grate.
Sure. Okay. So Narinn and Zorgar, meanwhile. Well, actually, no. Let's check in. So yeah, Sarah, you kind of. An hour or so goes by, and the troops in the 6th Legion, they kind of pack up and head off. And it looks like the coast is clear for you to join up with the crew in the temple.
Okay, I'll march on up.
Sure. Yeah, you kind of let yourself in. You're able to, you're one of the designated, so you kind of enter in, and everything goes quiet when you come back, and they'll kind of look at you and like, Kareth, who you vaguely recognize as one of the kind of fairly high up soldiers, says, "Do you know what the plan is?"
I don't believe there was a plan.
Fuck.
Yeah.
She kind of looks at Zars, and everyone's kind of like gathered around in a circle. People are like just kind of generally discussing things up until this point. And Zorath comes in, and she kind of looks at Zars and Kareth and says, "Well, I mean, if everyone here, you know the commander best. What's his plan here? What do we do? Where's this hideout?"
A hideout is a place where you can't walk there.
All right. Well, how do we? Well, we gotta figure out how to walk there then.
You can only get there from the air, or what we were doing was we were gonna use our druid to walk through trees there. I don't know how we do either of them.
So you're saying that we're stuck here and they're stuck there?
Sounds like it.
But I don't know what the plan is, and I don't know enough to make a plan.
Basically,
I'm also not the person to make a plan.
We have the men we have currently, and we don't have anyone else. And the leaders have been taken captured and are possibly being executed right now.
Well, I mean, you're a wizard. Can you like contact them or
I'm not a
anything?
wizard.
Well, I mean, you're like a wizard. Can you contact them?
No. That's not really my thing.
Right. Do we know anyone that can contact them? Can anyone here do it? No one really raises a hand. She's like, all right. Well, the last thing I heard from the commander was that he wanted to go down the side of the mountain that the 6th Legion came up, so I guess we start with that and we figure out the plan on the way. And then she kind of like looks at both Sorath and Zarzan to see if that kind of like sounds good, basically. Even though neither of you are like authority figures in this army.
Yeah, I mean, yes, no, maybe. I have no idea.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. Where is my dude? Where's
Saras? He's around, yeah.
Saras.
He's like
Saras, I need you.
he kind of comes over. He's like, right, what's going on here?
They're trying to figure out a plan.
Yeah, I know that, but like, do you know anything? Did they say anything to you? Is there any kind of plan here, or is this just like game over?
No, I'm pretty sure. Like they were kind of acting like they had a plan, but didn't actually have a plan.
Okay.
Seems to be pretty much the whole campaign so far.
They said that they were good at breaking out of.
Yeah, Sarah's kind of like beckons Zarzan over because Zarzan knows him as well. And then he's like, sorry, continue.
How long has the campaign? When did we arrive on scale? How long have we been here?
Like 2 weeks or something. Hang on, let me check the calendar.
Okay, so I'm an authority figure based on 2 weeks of.
I mean, you were in the party with the leaders.
Yeah, you get the impression that that's the main reason you're the authority figure.
Yeah, I feel like time doesn't have much to do with it if you're handpicked by one of the leaders.
Okay, it's been like 4 weeks actually.
Okay, that's less embarrassing.
I was gonna say it felt longer.
I was appointed. It was a random selection, isn't it?
It was a random selection. Hand-picked by multiple hands.
Yeah, Armin handpicked you, and then he gave that selection to Narinn to handpick from.
Yeah.
Wow.
Theros.
Yeah.
I think maybe we need to reanalyze the situation of not just following the orders they had when they didn't really have a plan, and perhaps reanalyzing who it is we want to follow and where our loyalties lie. Not that I think we should switch sides. That's not what I'm saying.
You think we should jump ship?
Well, there's two options. There's only two options to stand by, your own morals and things like that. And that's one is you charge to the capital to try and rescue your leaders, or you decide maybe that wasn't really a good idea and maybe we need to find someone else to follow that's not going to get captured.
Can I quickly slot in here, Jake? Do you remember the orders I left with Orman?
Yes, you do. Yes, I do.
Or perhaps actually, think of someone else who would be good to lead. My nomination would be you. I'm not saying this like in front of everyone.
Sure. He's like, what does he say to that? He says, like, well, let's just concentrate on getting off this stupid mountain first, and then we'll see where things are.
Okay.
And he kind of looks at you, he's like, I hear you.
Okay.
And yeah, meanwhile in the corner, Kara's like directing people, and she's like, pack everything up. That's where we're gonna make for the bottom of the hill. Take things from there, and like she looks like super flustered. And a lot of people, you can still see that like a lot of people have been badgering Sora, and she's like, man, just leave me alone. Don't do this. Like, don't do this to me. I'm just an old woman. All right, I'm not like, leave me alone. Basically. Are you guys doing anything else, or are you just sort of packing up with the rest of the troops and getting ready to head down the hill?
Packing up. I'm gonna try and keep everyone's morals high and just also continue to make it seem like we are knowing what we're kind of doing, so that people don't get too angsty. Mainly just so people don't get too anxious.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So we'll check in with.
There's not a threat of an army, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah. You're a naturally jubilant personality. You do a pretty good job of raising people's spirits. Like now that people are like, well, we're going to the bottom of the hill, and then well, at least we know what we're doing until then. At least people are kind of feeling a bit more okay about things. So yeah, we will check in with Narinn and Zorgar, and then we'll stop for the night. So
Can I do something?
Yeah, sure.
So when I'm tailing behind, I come across Narinn and those two guards, right? Yeah. Can I reach into my pocket and store spell and invisibility on whatever I can find?
Yeah. What kind of? I mean, you probably have like random like bits of maybe cogs and stuff like that. You maybe have a cog in there.
Yeah, it's a nice little cog.
Yeah.
Got a little cheeky.
Sure.
Second level invisibility on there, and I'd like to walk up behind them and press it into Narinn's hand.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Until he takes it.
Narinn, you feel this like cold metal thing in your hand.
And then I don't know how the best way to do this. I'd like to cast Freedom of Movement on Narinn.
That drops your invisibility.
Yeah, no, I've got a plan. It's all fine. Okay.
I think putting invisibility in your cog also drops your invisibility, doesn't it?
It's an action. It's not
an action. It's not casting a spell.
Because someone else is casting the spell, not you.
Oh. Let me read
I'm
them.
pretty sure anyway. Either way, it's fine. Doesn't really mess
Okay.
with my plans too much.
What does freedom of movement do?
It means you can't be restrained, and anything that's restraining at the moment doesn't work.
Can I still headbutt people?
There's no reason you couldn't in the first place.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, you can store the spell. So you press a cog into Naren's hand.
Kind of whisper, doesn't really matter. Like use it, and then freedom of movement, and then pull him towards where I came, towards the servants' exit.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, that seems like a pretty good place to leave things with Narinn. Zorgar, meanwhile, you get processed down into the sort of cell block area. You kind of get directed into this room by these two knights, and they instruct you to strip off and put your belongings in the corner.
I'll do it, but I'll be like slow and like very particular about folding my clothes. It's a very
Yeah.
like, neat
They just kind of
process.
watch you do it, and they're like, One point. So you got the gold claw with you, and also you got you probably got the green dude with you, and the green guy says, save every moment while you can.
Wait, what did you say?
He says, savor every moment while you can. That's
I'm savoring.
Yeah, I can see that.
As I like slowly. Oh yeah.
Sure, okay. So they instruct you to strip off, and then they toss like this like cloth shift at you, like kind of prisoner outfit.
Yep.
To put on.
Maybe I'll put it on.
Yeah, okay. It's a bit tight on the arms, tight on the armpits. Not very comfortable. Yeah.
Don't like it.
Then they gesture towards the door this way.
Can I get a bigger suit,
No.
please?
We'll keep it under advisal. And they process you through the door, and then down this like sort of spiral staircase. And you see, kind of at the bottom of the stairs, there's this blue scaled like guard, like jailer guy unlocks the cell and opens the door, and you're pushed roughly into it, and the door is shut behind you with a clang, and you can see that just started to his feet in this room. You can see a figure that you recognize. He's grubby. He looks a bit withered and wasted away. He was, you remember him as this like titanic, like both like in terms of presence and physical size. Just this huge guy in your life. You recognize your dad is in the room with you, and he kind of like turns and looks at you, and you see he was holding something in his hand, and then he like notices, he like makes eye contact with you, sees your face, and it's like he's just seen a ghost, and his hand instinctively opens, and there's this sound of metal on stone as this thing falls out of his hand and bounces on the cobbles and comes to a stop in the dirt, and you recognize it as this blood-stained symbol of Belarius, quite similar to the one that you used to have around your neck, and he kind of he looks at you and he says, "Zorgar, is it really you?" And I think we'll probably stop there.
Come on!
So, if you watch the stream, cheers for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks, because we're away next week, and we'll see what the heck happens then. See you later.